All right, guys, we've got a lot to talk about tonight. This should be fun. This should be a fun show. I've got a little different take than everybody else on these messages, and that's okay. That's okay. Hey, also, I've changed the delay on my mouth. If it's way off, let me know and I'll switch it. Guys, we've got to talk about these messages, but I also want to do sort of, I don't know if I want to do a whole series on it, but it's pretty, I think would be pretty easy to do. Go through and find the Fed slop flip-flop. Identify a person who has committed a Fed slop flip-flop. And when we identify them, out them. Out them. Just get right in their face and say, hey, I'm going to do a little of that tonight. We're going to do a little bit of an anatomy of a Fed slop flip-flop. We'll start with an easier version to digest. We won't get into the more controversial Fed slop flip-floppers today. But over time, maybe we do. Maybe we do. Maybe we line up a bunch of clips of them saying ridiculous things now compared to what they believed just a few weeks or months ago. It's not this. I mean, it's been almost a year, but it's only been a year. You know, it's not like you can say, well, I've had a come to Jesus meeting on everything I believed in my entire life relative to physics. And now that okay, people are saying it's earlier than the visual. There we go. Now that I have reevaluated how physics works in the universe, now I see things. Now I see a gun where I didn't used to see a gun. Well, I mean, it's not. That's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. So we're going to go through a little of that as well. We'll look at the Fed slop flip flop, but we also are going to take a look at where this message, if this message is to be believed, which I'm tempted to say, yeah, okay, I'll take it at face value. Maybe it's fake, but let's evaluate it as if it's real. I'm actually leaning towards the fact that it probably was real. So let's talk about it. Let's put it in context. What Charlie Kirk was doing the day before he died, his last full day here on Earth. His last full day here on Earth, he was texting people apparently in fear for his life. And how did that work out for him? Not very well. What steps were taken? Not very many. And so we will break it down. We'll put it into context, and then we'll look and we'll ask a question. Okay, well, if this is evidence that the left killed Charlie Kirk and somehow Charlie Kirk got notice of the left being represented, I guess, by a 22-year-old gay kid from St. George, Utah, what does that say about all the other things that were going on? What does that say about the rest of it? So let's just buckle up, sit down, relax. Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. And by that, I mean, I had someone challenge me. Who was it? It was Britta, maybe, on X, and say, oh, looks like they're scared. I'm not scared of anything. The truth will never scare me. Information, as honest as it may be, will never scare me. It's just more data. It's just more data. I don't have a vested interest in Tyler Robinson being not guilty. I don't have a vested interest in Tyler Robinson being guilty. That separates me from the Fed sloppers. They tend to disregard everything that does not point to a Tyler Robinson guilt verdict. And I tend to say, come one, come all. Empty his whole phone out on the internet. I don't care what it says. Oh, what if it says something bad about Candace? Okay, well, then you're going to make Charlie Kirk look bad. Because Charlie Kirk publicly was telling anyone who would listen how great she was and what a great friend she was and how he would never turn his back on her and how nobody could pressure him to stop being her friend. If he's privately telling all these people all these different stories relative to Candace Owens, well, then he's a monster. He's a monster. I don't do that. If I tell you something publicly about somebody, that's how I feel about them privately. It's just a fact. There are people I don't particularly care for relative to this investigation in particular, but there are a lot of people I just don't particularly care for. And I'll tell you that off the bat. And I say the exact same thing privately. There are a lot of people I really like, and I'll tell you that off the bat. And I'll say the same thing privately. I'm not going to tell you publicly, oh, I really like and respect this person. This person's a good friend. And then turn around and tell every employee, every close person to me, everybody who believes, who I can come in contact with, what a monster that person is or how much I hate that person. I'm not two-faced. And I don't think Charlie was either. I really don't. But if he was, if they want that to be his legacy, that he's just a total unadulterated liar and misleads people, okay, well, if the problem with a liar, if you catch them lying on that issue, if you catch Charlie Kirk lying on whether or not he likes Candace Owens, or was he just saying that publicly so she wouldn't attack him so he could accumulate more power, wealth, and influence? Well, if that's the case, what else was he lying about? Was he lying about his Christian faith? Was he lying about his marriage? Was he lying about his friendships? Was he lying about whether or not he was breaking the law? Was he lying? What does that give us some insight onto why Charlie Kirk was crying the night Donald Trump won? Because I'm very weirded out by that, if I'm being honest. I'm very weirded out by the fact that he was crying tears of joy when Donald Trump won election in 2024. And when he was confronted at an event under the tent, the guy didn't shoot him. He asked him a question. But when he was confronted on the event, under the tent, one of the professors where he was, he said, hey, why did you cry that night? And he said, because I was told I was going to go to prison if Donald Trump left and lost. And I was going to go to prison for a very long time. Well, did you do anything wrong? Well, if we can't believe what he says about Candace Owens in public, how can we believe what he says about whether he was committing crimes? How can we believe anything? If and this is going to be a recurring theme today. If Erica Kirk is to be believed, that when she's talking to Glenn Beck in December, there are no text messages. I would know. I have his phone. If she's to be believed that day, are these text messages real? Well, according to her, no. I do have some evidence. I think they're real. I do, and I'll share it with you as I get into that section. Is Andrew Colvett to be believed? We've caught him lying many times. How can you believe anything that man says? Anything he says on X is total unadulterated chaos as far as I'm concerned. It's not to be believed. It's not to be disbelieved. It's just, I just disregard it. I don't even think about what he says. But if you're going to tell me he lied about Candace Owens relative to their friendship, or was he managing it, or was he handling her, or whatever, how do I know where you were on September 8th? How do I know where you were on September 9th? How do I know you guys weren't involved in his death? I mean, I've never accused you of being involved in his death. But I've one of the reasons I haven't is because I sort of believe some of the things you say. But if it comes down to it, and it just looks like you're not to be believed at all in any capacity whatsoever, how am I to conclude that you weren't involved? How can I safely come to that conclusion? Because it seems like you guys are okay with lying. It seems like you guys are okay with Charlie lying to the entire world. His brand was like God, Jesus Christ, and apple pie. I mean, that was his brand. Like, maybe he started out when he was 18 years old. It was economic libertarianism. It was Ron Paul. Maybe it was Milton Keynes. No, not Milton Keynes. Milton Friedman, excuse me. Maybe it was von Mises Institute, right? Maybe that was Charlie Kirk's brand at 18, 19, 20 years old in the early to mid 20 teens. But by the time he died, that was not his brand. His brand was the Bible. His brand was sitting under a tent and convincing people that Christianity was the better path. That was his brand. But now you're telling me he's a liar. He's a lying liar who lies. He hated Candace Owens. So apparently that's the direction this is going to take. This is the way that they're going to try to convince us they had no involvement in Charlie Kirk's death. They're going to show us that Charlie Kirk was a terrible human being. I hope that's not true. I hope that's not true. But I do want to get into these text messages. I do want to get into these. Count that as an opening. I do want to get into these text messages a little bit. I did not have time to do an opening today. And I got to give you an update real quick. Next week, I'm going to be gone for part of it. Not all of it. Not all of it. I'll be here today through probably Wednesday, at least Tuesday that I know of, probably Wednesday. And then I'm going to be doing something where I have to take Thursday and Friday off, and probably Sunday as well. I'm going to be gone several days from being able to do the show. I will not be able to prep for a show during the day, and I will not be able to sit down in the evenings and deliver a program, because it just wouldn't be ready if I did, and I would just be turning on the camera, and I'm not going to do that. If I don't have a show prepped, we're not doing a show. I've promised you that from the beginning. I'm never going to turn on the camera unless I have something to say, unless I have something that's prepared that I think is worthy of your time. And so that is what I'm looking at for next week. So today, tomorrow, Tuesday, 100% I'll be here. Wednesday, let's call it 75 to 85% sure I'll be here. 75 to 85% sure I'll be here on Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday, 0% chance I'll be here. Sunday, 0% chance I'll be here. 0% chance I'll be here. So Thursday, Friday, and Sunday shows, the normal schedule, that will not happen. That absolutely will not happen. So that is your update. That's your update there. So yes, there'll be no Candace, no Baron on Thursday. That will be a little unusual because most Thursdays you get a little daily dose of both. Just a little daily dose. You don't overdose. You don't overdose. But yeah, so Wednesday, 75 to 85% chance I'll be here. 75 to 85% chance I'll be here. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, negative. Okay, now let's get back to the matter at hand, the text messages. Well, I want to tell you something. I have all these messaging platforms. I've confirmed without a doubt, 100%, that if these text messages are real, I'm talking about the text messages Smoke Boy released. I'll go over all this in a second. Don't feel lost. If you're lost, don't feel. I'll put it all up on screen. But on his show, I don't know if it was today or yesterday. I guess it was yesterday, maybe. I don't watch his show, so I don't know. But apparently he released the text messages, at least screen caps of the text messages, or at least pictures of screen caps of the text messages. I don't know why anyone can't, these people can't just release stuff themselves. These people just can't release stuff themselves. This is the third time that TPUSA has wanted to release important information. And instead of just having Andrew Colvette, the lead spokesperson, put it on his X feed or go on his Charlie Kirk show and show it up on the screen. You remember the September 9th alibi or September 8th alibi for Erica Kirk? The alibi photo? They got it out through little Gary. Little Gary posted that, if you remember. And then they wanted to show that Andrew actually arrived on an earlier flight or a later flight than I thought he did. Well, they didn't have the stones to release that themselves, so they released it through a home improvement blogger, someone named House and Habit I've never heard of. A home improvement blogger? I did a little research trying to figure out who this woman is. A home improvement blogger. So there are two sources for getting out critical information that they felt like was necessary to address some of the criticism was Little Gary and a home improvement blogger. As if they don't have Charlie Kirk's Twitter account, as if they don't have Charlie Kirk's YouTube page, as if they don't have Charlie Kirk's radio show, as if they don't have their own platforms. Andrew has his own YouTube page. Nobody watches it, but he has it. Nobody watches the Charlie Kirk show anymore either, but they have it. He has his own X feed. He's on there constantly putting nonsense up. He could put that up. He could say, hey, here's a picture of Erica Kirk purportedly on September 9th. We go, okay, great, thank you. But putting it out through Little Gary? Here's a picture. Here's a PDF of my itinerary. Okay. But putting out through a home improvement blogger? And now, for the third time, they've put out what they think is important information that they feel compelled to respond. There's so much they don't respond to. Interesting, right? But they feel compelled to respond to this, and they put it out through Smoke Boy. I think we figured out what Smoke Boy is. He's Gary 2.0. He's Little Gary 2.0. He's also a diminutive little feller. He also has a beard. He also is rude and calls people names. What it tells me is Gary, the Gary project failed. They're done with Gary. Well, Gary, we tried to leak stuff out to you, and you just kept screwing it up. So we're done with you. We're moving on to Smoke Boy. Moving on to Smoke Boy. I know we used to like to leak stuff out through you, Gary. We liked little Gary out there running our little drops. But now we're going with little Smoke Boy. Little teeny tiny Smoke Boy. We're going with him. We're going with him. I've also concluded if we're ever going to do a debate, we have to do Fran first. You CrossFitters will like this. You can only debate after you do Fran. And the debate starts when Fran ends. The clock is running. You want a 3.5 hour time? All right. We're doing Fran, and the debate starts when Fran ends. You got to finish it. You got to finish it. If you do 3 minutes, then you've got a lot of debate time. If it takes you 20, you've just lost a lot of time. I don't think Smoke Boy could do Fran in an hour, honestly. And it's a workout that should take you between like 3 and 8 minutes tops. Anyway, all right, back to reality. So I want to open up because those of you who don't know what I'm talking about relative to these texts, I'm going to give you the full background. We had the great debate last week or two. On the great debate, Smoke Boy walks into Candace Owens' basement. He leaves with a gaping hole in his soul. He got destroyed. He got annihilated. It wasn't even close. Oh, but she didn't have positive evidence for this. She didn't have positive evidence for that. Yeah, but she made a case, and you just flailed around going, positive evidence, positive evidence. I'm 75 to 85% sure he did it. Therefore, it's overwhelming. I'm convinced. But this is where it comes from. This is the text message that we've been waiting with bated breath to see.
He didn't come to me in a dream and say, Candace Owens betrayed him. That never happened. In fact, I don't need dreams of any kind because I hold in my possession never before seen messages from Charlie Kirk to his security team on September 9th, 2025. I'm going to share the message with you today, which is the first time this information's ever been publicly revealed. On September 9th, Charlie's security team wrote to him, yes, law enforcement has been fully supportive and agreed to a security plan and posture. Tomorrow's event will be covered by both my team and the campus PD. If additional support is required, patrol units will be available. I have 11 on site. Charlie responded with this. Okay, great. Remind them that they are there for one person's security only because I'm somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me. That was a message sent September 9th.
A message sent September 9th. What was that little head movie did? Let's look at that again. Hold on. I didn't catch that the first time. What was that? You okay, Smoke Boy? You okay, Smoke Boy? Looked like he had a little mini stroke. Did he drop something with his right hand? Is his mouth drooping?
Somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me. That was a message sent September 9th. What?
That's what a German Shepherd does when they hear something weird on the television. That is not what normal people do when they drop a mic drop moment, whatever you thought that was 5 minutes into the debate. So that was the context. And everybody said, where are these text messages? He said he was going to release them later during the debate. He did not. He did not show them during the debate. He did not know all the things he pulled up on the screen. That was not among them. Instead, when Candace asked for them, he said he was going to drip, drip, drip. He was going to drip, drip, drip them out. I'm just giving you the background. We're going to talk about the merit of them in just a second, but I want to show you Smoke Boy's response to, may we see these mysterious text messages?
Is there any more? I'm happy to play every clip that he has on the ready. Anybody?
You said you had some new evidence at the beginning of the.
Oh yeah, we should show that text
new
message that you read,
you
just because I
that?
think that's important for the public. You shared it out of context.
I'll do it on my show. I'll share the text
So you're going to
message.
read it on my show, but not show it.
Correct.
Okay.
So I'll show it on my show, but that's what I'll do. I'll show it.
Look at PBD's face. I don't know that I've ever watched PBD's face during this clip. I've seen this clip like 100 times. I don't know that I've ever watched Manspreader's face. Look at that. Look at that face. Are you kidding me? You're going to walk in here and talk about you've got new evidence? Candace is looking down, literally looking down on him now. She's literally looking down on him. PBD has a look on his face like, you have got to be kidding me, Smoke Boy. And Smoke Boy's looking for help. He's like, is there an escape hatch in here? Is there a way out of this basement? Am I trapped? Am I trapped with a 7-month pregnant woman? Is she going to beat me up? I smoke a lot. I don't know that I can run away from her. Oh, that's classic PBD face right there. That's great. I want that on a t-shirt. That's fantastic. Thank you, PBD, for that wonderful moment. Okay. So we've got a little background on what exactly it is we are looking about. So we go forward several days. Several days we keep waiting. Is Smoke Boy ever going to drop these text messages? What format are they? What platform are they on? Well, we got an answer on August 16th. We got an answer on August 16th. Here is what Smoke Boy had to say about the text messages. Friday, the narratives come crashing down. I have so much evidence you'll be drowning in it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Sunday. The narrative has not crashed down. We have not seen so much evidence. We are not drowning in it. But I'll go back to the text. A tweet. And you won't believe how I got it. I asked. And no, this isn't a drip. Verifications are just being finalized. Smoke Boy. Hold, please. Hold, please, Smoke Boy. Are you telling me you went on the debate and your big mic drop moment, you read text messages that had not yet been verified? Do you have positive evidence of those text messages? Well, not at the time I read them. I didn't. They weren't verified. Well, Smoke Boy, why didn't you verify them before coming on the program? Wouldn't that have made more sense? Wouldn't it have been a better plan to, if you're going to put that in your opening statement, that you have them in your possession and whatever verification process you chose to go through, that you would have done that? That's weird. That's kind of oversell, underdeliver, right? Oh, it's going to come crashing down. You're not going to see so much crash. You're not going to be able to withstand all the crashiness. Well, Smoke Boy, Friday has come and gone. There has been very little, if any, crashiness. It's a very uncrashy Friday, as far as I remember. Here it is Sunday, and I don't even remember a crash, much less crashing down. Then on August 22, this was yesterday, Saturday, let it be known, for the next few weeks, we will be verifying and qualifying evidence to be released exclusively on The Crucible. But it starts today. Well, I don't remember anything happening yesterday. So what was it that started? I don't recall. It was not memorable enough. So that's what he does. Now, here are the pictures from Smoke Boy's X feed of the actual images. We'll go through these. He released, I think, 4, but it's just the same screen cap. It's just, I think he zooms in a little each time or something. I don't know what he's doing. I can't account for Smoke Boy's smokiness. But here it is. Here you go, vultures. Oh, we're the bad guys because you brought evidence forward and we asked to see it. That makes us vultures. We're the bad guys because you read in your opening statement that you had these text messages and you thought they were somehow relevant to whether Tyler Robinson, they're not, by the way, whether Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. And because of that, you're somehow suggesting that we're the vultures? Sounds like you're the vulture. You're doing it on your platform. You're dripping it out so people keep tuning in every night so you can make as much money as possible. Okay, I get it. But this is the full screen here. I will show it to you as he zooms in here because we'll finally get to the last one. And here's what it says. I have 11 on site. This is from the person he's communicating with. I have 11 on site. We'll talk about what that means in just a second. Okay, great. This is supposedly Charlie in the light blue here. Delicately remind them they are there for one person security only. I guess Charlie wasn't good with grammar. I'm all right with that. One person's security only. And Charlie, if we're going to use numbers below 10, we usually write them out O-N-E instead of the number 1, but I'm not going to nitpick with a dead man. I'm somewhat worried about the left trying to kill me. I'm somewhat worried about the left trying to kill me. Okay. Well, I'm going to back it up a little bit because I want you to have a little more context. I'm going to make this as large as I can, but you're just going to have to trust me that this is what it says if you can't read it because it's too small. So Charlie asks here at the top, what's the lay of the land? What's the lay of the land? We have no idea what he said before because Smoke Boy only gave us one. Again, it's not a screen cap. It is a picture of a phone that it purports to be Charlie's phone. That would make Charlie the light blue and whoever he's talking to the dark blue. And then the medium blue is going to be screen quotes where you grab somebody's text message and you quote it within your own text message. Don't worry about the mouse. Everybody's getting keyed in on the mouse. That mouse is from Smoke Boy's computer. Don't worry. Like, you see how my mouse is over that mouse? Arr, arr. Now my mouse is doing inappropriate things to that mouse. That's what happens. You put a mouse over it, you take a screen cap, that's what happens. Okay. Yes. What's the lay of the land? Yes. Law enforcement has been fully supportive and has agreed toy security plan and posture. I'm assuming he means 2 security plan and posture. Tomorrow's event will be covered by both my team and Campus PD. If additional support is required, patrol units will be available. And then apparently Charlie said something. Thank you. The threats are higher than ever. How? ... And he said, I have 11 on site. I have 11 on site. Again, we're going to come back and explain each of these, but I just want to read them in context. Okay, great. Charlie says, delicately remind them they are there for one person security only. Next message, I'm somewhat worried about the left trying to kill me. And then the person he's talking to says, just so you're aware, I will be strict with allowing people in our bubble. I can't have distractions in there. As we spoke earlier, we are here for one priority. And then in response to the I'm somewhat worried about the left trying to kill me, this person says, I've got you. I'll do all in my power to make that extremely difficult. Sir, I don't want it to be difficult. I want it to be impossible. I don't want to die. Like, that's how, I don't know what the response Charlie gave to this message was, but my message would have been difficult. Difficult. I mean, a marathon is difficult, but people run them every day. The Ironman is very difficult, but a lot of people do the Ironman. I mean, thousands a year do the Ironman. It's difficult to climb Mount Everest, but it is quite popular, as a matter of fact. I don't want it to be difficult or even extremely difficult. I want to live. I want to live. Now, let me go back through a little bit of this because I want to raise a couple of issues I see in here before we start pulling up other sources. First, who's he talking to? Can you tell from this message who he's talking to? We see a date, September 9, 2025. He talks about the event tomorrow, so we assume the event is the UVU event. But can you tell who he's talking to here? No, it's been redacted. It's been redacted. And not only that, the little logo for the person has been redacted. It's kind of hard to see over here on the right, but where my mouse is circling on the upper right of the screen grab, it's been redacted. Right above waiting for network, there should be a name there of who that is. So who's he talking to? Well, we don't know. We have to go for context clues now. Tomorrow's event will be covered by both my team and Campus PD. Who has a team? Who has a team? You would assume he's talking to somebody security related here, right? My team and Campus PD. The only person that brought a team was Brian Harpole. It was not Dan Flood. Dan Flood brought no team. Dan Flood may have brought Christopher, I guess. I think Christopher's a TPUSA employee. But Dan Flood just works directly for TPUSA. There's no large team associated with Dan Flood. Dan Flood certainly didn't bring 11 people. Who talked about bringing 11 people? We'll get to that in a minute. There was somebody who said they brought precisely 11 people. And we'll tell you who that was in a second, and it might give us an indication who he's talking to here. Because then he goes on to say, I have 11 on site. I have 11 on site. That's this right here, this middle one, if you can't see it, if you need to screen cap it and zoom in. I have 11 on site. I think that gives us an idea who this is. I'll tell you who I think it is in just a minute. Just so you're aware, I will be strict with allowing people in our bubble. Well, not very strict. Not very strict. I looked in your bubble. There were a lot of people in the bubble that were not with TPUSA. Even some that could have been considered leftists, frankly. But I'm thinking of Butch Hibbs. Butch Hibbs was in the bubble. Do we know much about Butch Hibbs? I mean, we know he's a kind of a rabid Zionist. We know he's the brother of Jack Hibbs, but do we know if he's like safe? I don't know. Do we know what was in his pocket when he showed up? It was kind of the shape and size of a Rode microphone. So you weren't that strict with who came in the bubble. They're here for one priority. I got you. I'll do all of my power to make that extremely difficult. Again, who is this? So let's go looking for context clues. Let's go looking for context clues. We've now seen the text. Oh, I'll tell you right now. That's Telegram. I have Telegram. I have Signal. I have regular iMessage. That was Telegram. It's got the Telegram background, which has like little faces and stuff drawn in it. It has the background. You can't, it's subtle. You might not have seen it over YouTube, but it's there. It's there. So we have the Telegram background. We also can tell from the check marks. If it was Signal, when you send a signal, it gives you a check mark. When you send a Signal message, when the signal message lands on the other person's device, you see a second check mark, but there's like a circle around them, and the circle is vacant. When the person reads the text message, you'll get a filled in circle. That's different from Telegram, which is what we saw on the screen, which is Telegram sends a check mark, and then it just adds like a slash to the side when it's landed on the other person's device. And that's it. That's it. That's all you get. And you can tell from the bottom, I'll pull it back up. You can tell from the bottom, this right here at the bottom is the, I'll pull it back up, but this is the signal. I mean, this is the Telegram user interface right here. That at the bottom is the Telegram user interface. So that's Telegram. These are Telegram emojis right here. I refuse to believe they're anything else. And if they purport to be something else, then this is fake. If someone's going to tell me those are Signal or WhatsApp, that's fake. If you're going to tell me it's Telegram, I'll believe you. I'll believe you. So it has to be Telegram. Has to be Telegram. Now, I will share with you something I discovered on Telegram. Maybe you'll be able to see it on my phone, actually. I might pull it up on my phone and show you. If you go to Charlie Kirk's, let me close this out. This is going to be dangerous. If you go to Charlie Kirk's thing, right there, on the top, it says last seen within a month. That's his phone numbers, Signal messages. Telegram messages, excuse me. Last seen within a month. Now, I've been following this since shortly after Charlie died. Initially, all his telegrams, almost on a daily basis, said last seen within the last day or whatever. Last seen so many hours ago. Last seen. And then after a while, it was like last seen within the last week. And then they would check it every now and then. It would bump back down to the last day, and then it would go back to the last week. And then about 6 months or so ago, it started saying last seen a long time ago, meaning they haven't accessed it within the last month or so. And so it became clear to me they had stopped checking his telegrams. But for weeks, maybe months after he died, they were constantly on Charlie's phone looking at his Telegram messages. Telegram was opened a lot. You don't have to take my word for it. I'm sure other people captured that as well. I'm sure other people noticed that as well. But every time I opened it and opened up messages on Charlie Kirk's phone number, that's what it said. They were in his Telegram account. They were in his Telegram account. And so this is an indication to me that these could be real because these were last seen within a month. But it's also an indication to me they knew they were there the whole time because they were in his phone that whole time. Also, the settings for Telegram, you can set them to delete after 30 days or 60 days or 90 days or 6 months, I think up to a year. You can set your messages to auto delete. It looks to me like the messages are set to auto delete in like 6 months or whatever. So that had to be captured within 6 months, meaning they've had these messages for months. They've had this message for months. They probably got it before she went to talk to Candace Owens. If you remember, Candace Owens reported that when she raised the issue of the text messages, Erica Kirk said, oh, yeah. Have you seen the text message? And Candace was like, no. She said, okay, well, it said the left. It said the left is trying to kill me. Oh, okay. Well, if this is the message that said the left is trying to kill me, then they knew about it before December 15th. And that's about the time, I want to say maybe not too long after December 15th, Charlie's Telegram really went dormant for months. It never was opened again until within the last month or so. It's been opened again for some reason, probably to retrieve this, to give it to Smoke Boy so Smoke Boy could release it because they're too scared to release anything on their own. I don't know why they choose to go through, low budget podcasters, tiny podcasters, home improvement bloggers. I don't know why they choose to go through these people, but they do. And we allow it. Just telling you. I've got the Telegram FAQ on last seen, so you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about when I tell you what his phone was saying for a long time. Look at the purple text here. It's highlighted for you when we pull it up. Last seen recently covers anything between 1 second and 2 to 3 days. Last seen within a week, between 2 to 3 days and 7 days. Last seen within a month, between 6 and 7 days and a month. Last seen a long time ago, more than a month. So last seen within a month means it was like, that's what her message showed on Smoke Boys. That means it was last seen between a week and 4 weeks ago. So sometime in that 3-week window, Telegram was accessed. Charlie's Telegram was accessed on his device. Probably, if I had to guess, it was to retrieve this text message. Maybe others. But I want to drill down on what the issue was with Candace. She was pretty confident that there was a actual iMessage, not a Signal message, not a Telegram message, but an actual iMessage that said they are trying to kill me. They, and we know how anti-Semitic the word they is. Whoa, try to use that in polite company. You'll get shut down very quickly. They are trying to kill me. Erica said, no. It was another app. It was Signal. Well, this is actually Telegram, but I can see her not knowing the difference. She doesn't seem like the brightest bulb in the house. Not the sharpest knife in the drawer. But she says, no, that wasn't iMessage. It was an app. She said Signal, but appears to be Telegram. And it said the left. I'm going to make a suggestion here. I'm guessing he sent these fear-based messages to more than one person. I'm thinking he probably sent one to Dan Flood on iMessage and one to Brian Harpole on Telegram. And the wording, the verbiage was slightly different. Now, you could say if they're both true, maybe when he says they, he's just using a plural third person for the left. Okay. Let me go look at one more thing Smoke Boy said to Candace, because I think this is interesting in light of these messages. Very interesting in light of these messages. This was Smoke Boy talking about the receipt at Panguitch Steakhouse. Don't get lost in the topic. Don't get lost in the subject matter of Panguitch Steakhouse. Stay with me and focus, because it's going to lead us down a path suggestive of what type of evidence Smoke Boy thinks needs to be provided when you release something.
Anyway, this particular receipt, they could have called the merchant account, confirmed it, this type of thing. To date, this receipt has only the blurred information on it that would actually give you the information to confirm whose receipt it is. We have to date, nobody has confirmed that this was actually Tyler Robinson's receipt. And yet inside of Candace Owens' timeline, which she states over and over again, when she says, this is the longest 13 hours, this is 13 and a half hours, the requirement for about roughly 5.5 or 6 hours of that is that he went to the steakhouse. And that's not been confirmed at all. Not even a little bit.
I feel like saying that
Not even a little bit, except for the 2 eyewitnesses who put him there. But don't worry about pesky things like eyewitnesses when we could call the bank. We could call the bank vendor, the processor, the credit card processor.
spoke to the owner of the steakhouse is me, like, not just being on X looking at opinions, but actually doing the legwork. And that's why like I said, if you think this builds up a rapport with your audience and makes you seem like a serious person, we don't have to keep belaboring the point here. I feel like I've demonstrated that I did as much as I could to confirm this when it came in. I spoke to the owner of the restaurant, obviously took down everything he said, noted that there was, in fact, a receipt that he pulled. That receipt that was published is real. A debit card and a credit card was used. If for some reason somebody misidentified something down the line, or we find out it's a different Tyler Robinson, I'm happy to remove it from my timeline. But for right now, I think that there's enough under the Utah 1102 rule for me to keep it there. I don't really think we need to keep going into circles about this receipt. It's my timeline.
I don't know why the 1102 rule would apply here for your
because
timeline.
You were constantly cite things that are said in that courtroom that have less evidentiary support than me contacting and speaking with the owner of the restaurant. It's not like I dreamed it, as to use your expression. So it's in my timeline, and I'm going to keep it there if that's
sure.
cool.
You can keep whatever
Great.
you want there. I'm
Okay.
just saying that there's no evidence he was ever there.
Okay.
Yeah, except 2 eyewitnesses that put him there. Yeah, no evidence. It's ludicrous. It's bad faith. But I want to go back to the point. Smoke Boy says, I won't accept 2 eyewitnesses. I won't accept a screen cap of a written exchange, meaning I buy a steak and you give me a receipt of it. No, I'm not going to accept these things. You have to get the credit card processor to validate who it was. Okay. I think that's a good standard. If you insist on that standard, I'm going to show you how you can verify these Telegram messages. And I'm confident they're Telegram messages. And Smoke Boy, if you want to get your handy dandy screen grabber ready, I'm going to give you a screen cap of a way to validate this, believe it or not. This is how you validate something on Telegram. To export your Telegram chat history as a JSON file, use the official Telegram desktop app for Windows, Mac, or Linux, as mobile devices do not support full data backups. Open the app, go to Settings, Advanced Export Telegram Data, select JSON as your format, click Export. Well, maybe he doesn't want, is that the whole file? Okay, well, I broke it down for you person by person. Do you want to do a single chat, or are there lots of these Telegram chats you're going to drop, so you need to just do the whole account? Let's see, this is easy. If you want to do a single chat, Smoke Boy, open the Telegram app on your desktop on your computer, click the chat you want to save, click the 3 dots in the right top corner of the chat window, select Export Chat History, check the media types or data you want to include, choose JSON under the Format section, then click Export. If you want to do the entire account, here are your, I'm not going to read through those because you've not released anything else yet, but I will highlight that for you there. So you can, when you do your screen grab, you know whether you're getting the single chat or the entire account. And I will suggest to you this is possible, and it's not particularly difficult because I have whole exports of entire accounts from TPUSA, all their messages. They loved Telegram. If you remember on Blake's supposed story, if he's to be believed, Blake Sneff, after the event, or shortly after the event, like within seconds, apparently the first thing he did was open Telegram and type to TPUSA's headquarters telling them to lock it down. So this is obviously how they preferred to communicate. And I have evidence of that because I have a lot of accounts, whole exports of their Telegram data. That's how we, from time to time, show you their internal. That's how I know they hated Alex, whatever her name is. That's how I know they didn't like Brandon Tatum. I saw them talking about them. So it's, if you want to validate this, if you want us to believe you, and I'm willing to accept this at face value, that he told who I believe is Brian Harpole, that he told Brian Harpole that he was worried the left was going to kill him. I'm totally willing to accept that. Totally willing to accept that. Now, but he said the left was going to kill him. Do we know how Charlie defined the left? Do we know who he considered on the left? Do we know who he considered funding the left? Well, we do, actually. We have good information on what Charlie would be talking about when he said the left. Because if you're worried the left is going to kill you, it's not just the actual activist on the ground. There's got to be some sort of a broader operation, or how would you have heard wind of it? In other words, if Tyler Robinson's in his creepy little room in St. George, Utah, doing creepy little planning exercises and somehow knows for some reason a week ahead of time precisely where Charlie Kirk's tent's located and how high he'll be off the ground and where he'll be seated and that he'll have a clear view. And then he knows just intuitively how to get to the proper perch, the right point to try to take that shot where it won't be guarded. There'll be no police officers. He won't be seen by anybody in the venue, and he'll get plenty of time to hang out on the roof for 10 minutes, apparently, for some reason. Like, put yourself in Tyler Robinson's shoes. You're about to pull off the crime of the century. Literally, the crime of the century so far. You get on the roof at 12:15. And then you just sort of hang out. You hang out. Now, you would say, well, maybe he didn't have a shot yet. No, Charlie was in the same spot. Charlie was talking at that time to a guy named Henry Dell. They were talking about Mormon issues, about the Church of Latter-day Saints and whether or not they were Christian and were they good people and did he dislike them and did they need to do anything else to obtain salvation? You can watch the whole exchange. But Charlie Kirk was on the stage. And if Tyler Robinson intended to kill Charlie Kirk, that was a great time to do it. He had just gotten there, just gotten settled in. Security was still milling about. In fact, if you go back and watch the video footage, and I can't show it to you because YouTube gets all weirded out about it, but you can find it. You can find the whole like 10 or 11 minutes between the time Charlie Kirk took the stage and when he went down. If you watch the whole thing, the time where Tyler Robinson allegedly took the shot is actually the worst time he could have done that. Because prior to that, nobody was paying attention. Nobody was paying attention. Dan Flood was messing with his phone. He was messing with his thing. He's talking to Brian Harpole about the sound. He's looking over talking to Terrell Farnsworth. He's just all over. He's paying no attention until Hunter Kozak gets up. And all of a sudden, he's all business. He's standing there, and he's still, and he's looking. And he's scanning. All of a sudden, everybody kind of locks in. But it's not lost on me that this supposed Tyler Robinson was on the roof the whole time. So Tyler Robinson spends 8 minutes, allegedly, on the roof, ready to go. He got to the Losi Center before 12 o'clock. The bang didn't happen until 12:23. That gives him 23-minute window to get prepared, get up there, and execute. But he was on the roof just sort of milling about. In fact, he milled about for so long, they cut out the footage. I guess it was too much milling. Too much milling. We can't watch people mill. We've got judicial economy. We've got only a 5-day window to try this preliminary hearing. We can't be showing all 8 minutes of him on the roof. No, we'll give you a minute or so here and a minute or so there. That's all you're going to get. Well, what was he doing for those other 6 minutes? Was he still just milling? Because that's what it looked like he was doing the whole time we've seen him. Just sort of milling about, standing there. That would have been a much better time to get in position and take a shot because no one was paying attention. I challenge you, go back and watch the last, say, 6 minutes of the Henry Dell exchange with Charlie Kirk. Henry Dell was the first guy questioning Charlie Kirk. Go watch the last 6 minutes or so of that and look at the security team. Look at Dan Flood. Look at Mikey McCoy. Look at Blake Neff. Look at Terrell Farnsworth. Nobody's paying any attention. Nobody's paying any attention whatsoever. In fact, Tyler Robinson waited until everybody was locked in to even begin making his move to the corner. I always found that a little odd. Found that very odd. But if you believe that Tyler Robinson solely planned and executed Charlie Kirk, and he's in his creepy little room in St. George, and he's drawing up his creepy little plans to take him out, and he's, I don't know if is he Googling the Google Earth of the campus? How does he just intuit it? Does he just know it? Does he divine it? Is some sort of supernatural creature just putting the plans of the university in his brain? We have no explanation. We've never been given an explanation, frankly. We're just told that he did it. He just pulled this off. Knew precisely where to go at precisely what time. He knew precisely that there would be nobody there, and he would be able to take a clean shot at plenty of time. Well, Charlie probably wouldn't have gotten wind of that. Keep in mind, if the text messages are to be believed, Tyler Robinson told Lance Twiggs he intended to take the secret to his grave, meaning he wasn't talking to it about other people. He wasn't telling anyone else. How do you take a secret to your grave if you've told other people? No, friends. From his own words, we're to believe Tyler Robinson told nobody. This is not something he discussed with other people. This is something he just drilled in on his own. He was very serious about it. So how did Charlie Kirk get wind of it that the left was trying to kill him? So who did he consider the left? Well, we actually have an indication. We have a whole article written by Media Matters for America over who Charlie Kirk identifies as the left. Who's the chief organization or group of people funding the left? Let's find out. This is an interesting clip. I'm not going to play the clip. I'm just going to read the transcript they give us here, but this is fun. Charlie Kirk defends Elon Musk's anti-Semitism. Some of the largest financiers of left-wing anti-white causes have been Jewish Americans. So there's a debate here on X, and Elon Musk jumps in, and then Charlie goes on his show, and he defends Elon Musk. And he says Elon Musk got himself in a little bit of trouble yesterday. I'll pull this down so it's a little bigger for you. Elon Musk got himself in a little bit of trouble yesterday. He responded to a tweet. I actually don't think the tweet is that smart. Okay. I think one part is legit. Okay, well, let's talk about that one part. That the world's wealthiest man would comment on something on this is historic. Why, Charlie? Why is it historic the world's richest man would comment on this? So here's the tweet. It's basically responding to a video. And the video was basically a white father with his white son saying to his son, hey, you think that, you're posting online all this anti-Semitic stuff. Why don't you go and say this to these Jewish families' face? Pretty powerful advertisement. I would say so. I think that's a pretty powerful advertisement. People are real big behind a keyboard, but they will not say things to your face. I've had this experience many times when critics of mine reach out and want to have a conversation off the record, and they're super polite on the phone. So that's the ad. He plays the ad. But he says, I'll go through what they're basically saying here. Half this tweet is true. Well, what is the half that's true? The first part is absolutely true. Let's go to this. Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. These are Charlie Kirk's words, not your humble host. Don't come after me, people. Go after Charlie. Now, I don't like generalizations. Not every Jewish person believes that, but it is true. The ADL was part and parcel with Black Lives Matter. It's true that some of the largest financiers of left-wing anti-white causes have been Jewish Americans. They went all in on woke, and it wasn't just the ADL. It was some of the top Jewish organizations in the country that have done that. In fact, we've seen this with the recent retreat of Jewish donations that are no longer going to be administered to colleges, right? Mark Rowan, Leon Cooperman. Can we get that full list? It's very powerful. That's part of so that's totally true. Okay, so who's the left? To Charlie. If the left wing is doing something that he disagrees with, that he finds sort of violent or criminal or woke, he sort of equates it to, again, I'm just explaining this. I'm not advocating for this. I'm not affirming this. I'm just quoting Charlie Kirk. This is a historical segment. I'm just looking at the historicity surrounding what Charlie Kirk thought about certain topics. That's it. So we don't need any kind of actions. And by the way, Tucker Carlson reinforces this. So I'm going to it was quite the day on the internet. Tucker Carlson was interviewing Candace Owens. We have Candace Owens coming up next hour, and Tucker Carlson mentions that Jewish Americans have primarily been financing cultural Marxist ideas. We said this, by the way, last week, and people came after us. We actually said it in a different way. We said, I'm glad that Jewish Americans are reconsidering their financing of cultural Marxism. And people misunderstood it intentionally and slandered us as being anti-Semites. But listen to this. Tucker Carlson is completely correct by saying this, that the philosophical foundation of anti-whiteness has largely been financed by Jewish donors in this country. And then he plays a clip of Tucker Carlson saying exactly that. Back to Charlie Kirk. Let's just say this, liberals, but that includes Jewish financiers of liberal causes. Didn't really care about the University of Chicago having courses that's saying, the problem with whiteness. They didn't really care about American Express saying that we must eliminate whiteness. They didn't, in fact. They were supportive of it. A lot of liberals were okay with critical race theory, diversity, equity, inclusion. ADL went all in on the BLM type narrative. ADL is one of the many different organizations that were perfectly fine with the growing anti-white wave. Now, to be clear, many of these Jews did not fully understand what they were financing. Their intentions were probably pretty good. As we've said, intentions mean next to nothing here. And I'm sure some of the intentions weren't so good. But let's just intention aside. I'm not that interested in intentions. I'm interested in actions. So if leftists were trying to kill him, who does Charlie think finances and provokes those types of things? That's a pretty uncomfortable conversation in light of what happened to Charlie. It's a pretty uncomfortable conversation. Because there we have it in July of 2025, 2 months before Charlie died, who he thinks pushes the left in this country. It's not Tyler Robinson. Tyler Robinson's the one being pushed. Pushed by whom, Charlie? Pushed by whom? So when he says the left is trying to kill me, who does he ultimately hold responsible for the left in this country? I don't want to say it out loud. But, he sort of said it out loud. I don't have to say it out loud because he said it out loud. So I'm willing to accept it's true. I'm willing to accept the text messages are true. I'm willing to accept that Charlie Kirk was fearful of the left. And he was fearful. But how did the message get back to him? Tyler Robinson, planning to execute Charlie Kirk, did not get back to Charlie Kirk. That wouldn't have made its way back to Charlie Kirk. So how did it get to him? In all likelihood, someone told him that they were doing that. Someone told him. If I had to guess, and he's dead, so I can't ask him. Maybe if they exported his whole Telegram file, we'd find out. I don't know. It'd be a nice open source investigation, wouldn't it? Just put his whole Telegram on the internet. If you're going to pick and choose what you're going to show in order to prove a point, just put it all out there. Let's see it in context. What else was he talking to presumably Brian Harpole about? It may not have been Brian Harpole. I'm just guessing. Speaking of, why would they release that if it was, in fact, Brian Harpole? Have you thought about that? Because if he's texting this with one of his security people, there was an obvious security failure. We don't have to have any doubt about that. Everybody in the team said they were scared to death when they looked around. Frank Turek said it. Mike, well, they all looking around like, I don't like the looks of this place, Charlie. Everybody was scared of it. And now you have a message directly from Charlie that says, I think someone might try to kill me tomorrow, whether it's they or the left or whoever. Someone might try to kill me tomorrow. Why would you release that text message? That is really putting whoever received that and was in charge of Charlie's security at great legal peril, in my opinion. That's why I'm willing to accept it's true, because I think the reason they would have released it is they're not real keen on Brian Harpole. TPUSA is not. In fact, there was a rumor going a while back that they intended to sue Brian Harpole because Charlie died. I don't know if that rumor was true. I heard it was true. But if so, a text message like this would go a long way towards supporting such a lawsuit. You didn't just fail. You failed in the face of notice that this was a problem. And precisely the notice he gave you came to be true. If I wanted to sue Brian Harpole and I'm Erica Kirk or I'm TPUSA, well, that text message is going to come in handy. The jury's going to see that. The jury's going to see that. We're going to get that in. Now, if it was Dan Flood, I don't think they would have released it because that makes whoever received that look terrible. So if that's Dan Flood, they just threw their own current TPUSA employee directly under the bus and backed it up. You see why I'm willing to accept it's true? Because I believe it came from Brian Harpole, and I don't believe they're caring to protect Brian Harpole. If I thought it came from Dan Flood, if they were trying to tell us that it came from Dan Flood, I would say I think this is a fake text message. I don't think that they would put this out knowing the damage it would do to Dan Flood. Because Dan Flood's a current employee. But if it was Brian Harpole, I could absolutely see them releasing this. I don't think they like him. It's a guess. There was the rumor that they were going to sue him. I don't know if that ever came to fruition or not. Or if it's ever going to come to fruition. But that's why I believe it's true. Because I think it was sent to Brian Harpole. And I think they're intentionally trying to drop a bomb on Brian Harpole. Charlie Kirk told you he thought someone in particular, someone that he identified, not a particular person's name, but an ideology. He thought there was a verifiable threat on his life tomorrow. He wants to beef up his security. He's counting on you to do it. He's saying, I'm the only priority. No matter what happens, make sure I get out of there alive. And you say, I got it, boss. I got it. Well, you don't got it. You didn't got it that day. You never got it. And so Charlie got it. Got put in the ground. Well, or wherever he is. That's why I'm willing to accept that it's a real text. Because I think it went to Brian Harpole, and because I think they are fine with throwing Brian Harpole under the bus to make a point and own Candace Owens, or just set Brian Harpole up for some sort of a lawsuit later. Now, they may never sue Brian Harpole. But I'm telling you, the rumor persisted, and I believed it. I think they may or may not have a cause of action. I think they probably do, but a court would decide that, not your humble host. But that's why. That's why. Now, I'm going to show you. I'm not going to play it because it's. I think it comes out better on text, if I'm being honest with you. Brian Harpole is such a poor communicator. I just think this comes out better on text. So I'm going to pull up the transcript, and we're going to read through it. I can assure you the transcript's mostly, pretty accurate. Anything that's not accurate is not being changed by the video. So this is Sean Ryan talking. One of my favorite sayings. Man, YouTube transcripts are tough. Size, snorts. Holy mackerel. Makes him sound like a pig. I can assure you Sean Ryan's not a pig, YouTube. Last question before we take a break. I want to ask you, were you understaffed? Or was anybody sick? Did you have what you needed? That is Sean Ryan asking Brian Harpole on his show, were you adequately staffed? Because obviously something went terribly wrong. The one responsibility you had did not work out. You were supposed to keep him alive and you didn't. So did you have all your resources? This is Brian Harpole answering. Yeah, we usually had been the same as every other event. No, we upped it. Yeah, you upped it. Yeah, we upped it. This is back to Brian Harpole here, 5904. Yeah, we upped it. We usually would run 8 to 9, depending on how many movements and how much movement inside. And so based on no articulable threat, but just the current world situation prior to that day, we upped the manpower to 12, and then we actually had a 13 that came in the drive party. And so, but yeah, we upped it based on nothing because it's like, all right, that we're in kind of a place where we don't want to be. We're expecting a big crowd. It's the first one. We don't want to get behind the 8 ball. We in the security industry, it's a prevention industry, not a response industry. It's a response industry, but it should be a prevention industry. So they're in the prevention model, and some, you see if you can pull the schematic up of the placement, yada, yada, yada. So what's Brian Harpole saying here? There were 12 of us. Go back to that Telegram message. I've got 11 there. Well, if he has 11, he makes 12. Brian Harpole makes 12. And he says we had a 13th that rolled in on the drive crew. I don't know what that is, but I'm thinking it might be the mysterious Christopher we looked at last show who drove in with Charlie. He would make the 13th. You would have Dan Flood, potentially, I guess he's part of the 12 or 13. And then Brian Harpole and his 11. And then maybe this Christopher guy makes 13. But in no situation does Dan Flood have a team of 12 or 11 plus himself. He doesn't have that many employees. Brian Harpole is the security contractor. Dan Flood's the permanent employee. And so I look at that and I think that has to be Brian Harpole. Now imagine if you're Erica Kirk or you're TPUSA and this interview comes out in November. And here's Brian Harpole saying there was no articulable threat. We just upped it based on no reason. Just the way the world was going, I guess. But there was no particular reason we upped the threat. There's no particular reason we upped the amount of people that were present that day. Imagine you're Erica Kirk and you read that. Or you hear that interview. And then you go back and you look at Charlie's phone and you say, wait a minute. He's saying right here he thinks the left is going to kill him the next day. And guess what happened? He got killed the next day. This is reading everything in the light most favorable to Erica Kirk, by the way. Just trust me. Do I think this is what happened? That's not for tonight to decide. But imagine that's the case. Brian Harpole goes up there and says, yeah, there was no threat, but we upped it anyway. And then you pull out his phone because you had to have seen it at some point before December 15th when you met with Candace. because you referenced this text, this message on the Telegram platform that you thought was Signal, but whatever. You mentioned this, you referenced this, you cited it by the left, you cited words out of it on December 15th. So sometime before December 15th, and maybe presumably after this November 17th to 19th interview with Sean Ryan comes out, so you have about a month there, give or take. You hear him say this, and then you go pull his telegrams, and you think, wait a minute, there's a threat right there. There's a specific articulable threat. He's saying, I think the left is going to kill me tomorrow. Make sure I'm alive. And you're talking about, I got a baller. We're good. I got it. I got you covered. Well, it turns out you weren't good. You didn't have him covered. So I could see Erica, again, light most favorable to Erica here. I could see Erica thinking, we got to get rid of this guy. And keep in mind, at some point, Brian Harpole was let go, but he was still guarding Erica at some point after Charlie Kirk went down and before December 15th, because I think in October, if I'm not mistaken, October 13th or 14th, Charlie's Presidential Medal of Freedom presentation in Washington, D.C., I'm pretty sure we see Brian Harpole in the protective crew, in the security crew. And so I'm wondering, at what point did Erica discover this text? Or what point did someone on her team discover this text and raise the question of whether Brian Harpole should have known? Should have known. Well, I would say September 9th, based on that text. I would say based on that text, September 9th. Now, that's reading it in the light most favorable to Erica. Now, what if we read it in a light not most favorable to Erica? Well, then we assume that she knew for a long time about this.
About the trannies.
That was a weird cut. I didn't mean to cut in there.
His day was being impacted by Israel. He was referring to Israel when he said that. He was referring to Israel. And I have one more thing to tell you. And this is really going to knock your socks off. This is crazy. I've clocked Erica on another lie. A big lie. I went back to my source. Remember I told you when I broke the story and then she had to admit that he texted Dan Flood. First she said, oh, he never texted Dan Flood or whatever. I have his phone. And then I was like, Andrew Colvett told me and my source had access to Dan Flood's messages. Well, Dan Flood, then she admitted he did receive a message, but she said she received that message on a chat that clears, like a Telegram chat. Well, guess what? I went back to that source and they said it was an iMessage. She's lying.
Again, I can reconcile both of those facts by just saying there must have been another message. Maybe there was an iMessage to Dan Flood and there was a Telegram chat, but the Telegram chat wouldn't have gone to Dan Flood. You're not going to text same person two different messages using two different platforms on the same day. That is just ludicrous. So maybe the way he spoke with, she looks so tough right there. She looked like she's ready to fight. I apologize, Candace. I didn't mean to stop you in such an angry. You're not angry. You look snarky. But you wouldn't text Dan Flood on iMessage and Dan Flood on Telegram, and on one of them say they're trying to kill me, and on the other one say the left is trying to kill me. No, you would probably text Dan Flood on iMessage and Brian Harpole on Telegram if I had to guess. That's just a guess. Don't sue me, Brian. It's just a guess. But makes sense to me.
Let me say it again for you. She's now twice lied about this Dan Flood message. First, she said it didn't exist. Then she said maybe it did exist, but actually it was on Telegram, which Charlie had set to clear, and that's why she never saw it. That's a lie. It was sent an iMessage between him and Dan Flood, according to my source, who I trust a lot more than I trust Erica because I've clocked her on too many big lies. So, not okay. Let's take you back to the 8th. Let's go to the 8th.
And so according to Candace, that was not the way it was articulated to her at that message, at that meeting on December 15th. So let's roll through Charlie's final day here. Let's roll through Charlie's final day. The first thing we have is a text message, B&E, bright and early. 7:29 a.m. Charlie Kirk out there texting encouraging Bible verses. That clocks. I mean, that's consistent with his public character. Before they assassinated it by saying he's a public liar and he really hated Candace, even though he kept saying he didn't. Then we have a gap. We have a gap for a little while. But I'm going to have to give you some context on how we filled this gap. I think Daisy actually did some great math on this. Oh, I didn't show the text. I did show the. Oh, I didn't show the text. Oh my gosh. Are you telling me? Are you telling me I pulled a Baron? Are you telling me I pulled a Baron? Did you guys watch me watch that? Guys, it's been a while, but it still happens occasionally. Unfortunately for me, when I pull up the big screen and I have me on the little screen, that's when I do all my ticking and jiving. That's when I do all my little ADHD stuff. So you probably got an eye full of it, but I apologize. Let me show you what I showed.
Bursts of encouragement to keep going, to keep fighting. And here is the message that he chose to share. Again, group chat between him and Erica, September 9th. It is 1 Corinthians, Paul's letter to the Corinthians 16:9. And it reads, "For a wide door for effective work has opened to me, and there are many adversaries."
That's what I was supposed to show you a minute ago. That's what I was supposed to show you a minute ago. I hope you just saw it. I hope you stayed with me long enough to see that. So 7:29 a.m. Charlie's kicking the day off with a little bit of people asking about having a stroke. Well, yeah, that's when I do all my shucking and jiving is when I've got the video up. In fact, sometimes I just feel like I need to shuck and jive, so I'll pull something up for no reason. That happens, ladies and gentlemen. It's hard being me. It's exhausting. Now, after 7:29, we have a little gap because the Charlie Kirk show doesn't kick off till 9 a.m. So what did he do for that hour and a half or so? Well, we think he might have recorded an interview, a pre-record interview that played later that day with Mark Halperin. Mark Halperin is a man of questionable moral fiber, but that's for a different day. Mark Halperin is a commentator. He's one of these people they like to bring in. He's one of the few kind of mainstream people who sort of identify as slightly right of center. And so I like to bring Mark Halperin on. I used to actually like watching Mark Halperin in the mornings while I was getting ready, before his character was revealed. But we're guessing that probably was recorded in that window because at the end of the Mark Halperin interview, he says, see you soon on your show, or see you on your show soon. Well, that could only happen if they pre-recorded it right before Charlie went on his show. So I'm guessing that's what happened. Probably in that hour and a half break, he probably got ready, maybe finished off a little breakfast or whatever, and then went into his studio to do a pre-record with Mark Halperin before doing the Charlie Kirk show later that day. Now, 8:33 a.m. 8:33 a.m. What's happening? Andrew Colvette said Erica was with her kids, taking them on a walk before going to the office. This is 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. This is from Gare Bear's revelation to us. If you look here, she was with her kids at 8:33 a.m. Pacific time. Don't share. Well, oops. But that's Erica at 8:33 a.m. purportedly with her kids. The morning of the 9th. I have no idea why she showed that. No idea why Gary broke that story, but he did. We did. And we appreciate it. It gives us a data point. Now, Lisa of Lisa Knows fame has gone on to explain that those were actually not her kids. Well, one may have been her kid, but Tracy, the inimitable Tracy Martin, confirmed this wasn't Erica's son. Oh, okay. Well, she knows both parties in this photo, sees the Kirk children regularly. Once again, they aren't random kids. They are family friends who came over to visit at 8:33 a.m. on a Tuesday. I have 8 kids. I don't have a lot of play dates that start before 8:33 a.m. on a Tuesday. But I'm not Erica Kirk. Maybe that's how they do things around there. I don't know. But that's 8:33 a.m. Again, we're going through Charlie's final day because we're going to put this text in context of Charlie's final day. So 7:29 a.m., the final day he's fully alive from midnight to midnight. He texts Erica Kirk and a Catholic priest in a group chat, and Erica Kirk to the Catholic. He texts them both a piece of scripture from 1 Corinthians 16:19. At some point, presumably before 9 a.m., after that text and before 9 a.m., he records the Charlie Kirk show, at least an interview with Mark Halperin. And then at 8:33 a.m., Erica Kirk supposedly is in the entryway of her condo playing with her daughter and some other boy on a play date at 8:33 on a Tuesday. 9 a.m. 9 a.m. We get the Charlie Kirk show. Now, you'll remember one of the people Charlie was forced to talk to on his final day on Earth was Ben Shapiro. Because Andrew Colvette said he set up an interview with Eyebrows himself. Sometimes Ben was mad in the interview. Sometimes he was surprised in the interview. Sometimes he was sort of neutral. But that was during the, I think, 10 o'clock hour of that program. So from 9 to 11, he's on a show. He's doing the Charlie Kirk show. It's interesting. It used to be called the Charlie Kirk show. It's still called the Charlie Kirk show, but there is no Charlie Kirk. There's pictures of Charlie. There's a picture of Charlie in the background. His name is on the lower third like 3 or 4 different times. But no Charlie Kirk, strangely absent. Between 11 and 12:30. Between 11 and 12:30, we have to believe that Charlie Kirk was taking a nap. And how do we know that? Again, our good friend Gare Bear. Thanks, Gare Bear. Because on the Gary show, we have she woke up next to Charlie, went to the office with Charlie all day. Well, except for the play date at 8:33 a.m. This is a little interesting, but woke him up from a nap before a Fox hit. Went to dinner with Charlie. Literally, people are lunatics. He's explaining her September 9th, the day before Charlie died. Again, the question was about where she was on the evening of September 8th, and they conveniently ignored that and talked about her plans for September 9th, whatever. But it did give us a little idea of maybe something Charlie was doing. Woke him up from a nap before his Fox hit. Well, when was his Fox hit? His Fox hit was at 12:49. 12:49. So, I'm sorry. His Fox hit was at 1:13. Excuse me. His Fox hit was at 1:13. And so at 1:13, he's up on the Fox hit. At 11 o'clock, he's off the Charlie Kirk show. So sometime in there, he has to have napped. But we know he didn't nap right up until the 1:13 Fox hit because at 12:49, he's sending a text. And we have that text because these texts are in Eastern time zone. So all we have to do is subtract 3 hours and we get Arizona time. Right before his Fox hit, right after waking up from his nap, according to Erica, he's texting at 12:49 p.m. Arizona time. Just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. That's 12:49 p.m. Arizona time. So if you're tracking his last day, you're putting these texts in context. That's where we are. We're up to 1:17. He does a 5-minute Fox hit with Will Kane, 1:13 to 1:17. At 2:37 p.m., Mark Halperin drops the episode he did earlier that day with Charlie Kirk, presumably around 8 o'clock in the morning. At 3 p.m., we're told he did the Zoom call with Rabbi Walicki, with Josh Hammer. I think Rob McCoy may have been on this. I'm not exactly sure. But it was like a Zoom call supposedly pep talking him for how to gear up for the greatest ally conversation that was going to take place at UVU the next day. And we know this. We know the time because we have Josh Hammer to thank. Didn't mean to hammer you, but he's little bitty, so you're not too scared. Oh, he got a little bigger. Sorry, guys. I've been extremely reluctant to post screenshots from a murdered friend. It feels icky. I don't like it. Oh, they don't. It doesn't feel icky anymore. They love doing it now. But while I was offline this week for a holiday, a high-profile, deeply unwell lunatic, I'm presuming that's Candace Owens, used screenshots of an intimate group chat I was in with Charlie Kirk and some others to impugn my character in the worst way and allege I somehow had foreknowledge or worse of my own friend's horrific assassination. In those screenshots from about 3:30 to 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, again, that's 12:30 to 1 o'clock Arizona time, the day before he was killed, Charlie was blowing off steam in a private chat setting. Donors have every right to withhold donations, and organizations have every right to be upset when donors withhold those donations. That's the nature of donors and donees in the not-for-profit space. So we have evidence from Josh Hammer. Oh, I didn't even show the money spot here. Hold on. Let me go back. Oh, here we go. So he blew off steam until 4 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. Arizona time. And then 2 hours after that, I joined a Zoom call with him and a few others. New York Post covered this Zoom call shortly after Charlie's death. In short, Charlie sought out our advice for how to better communicate the Israel issue on campus so as to be the most effective with a young Gen Z audience. So that 2 hours after 1 p.m. would be 3 p.m. So 3 to 4 p.m., he joins a Zoom call on his final day on Earth. Now, put that Zoom call in context with what we covered during the last program. I think we went over the letter during the last program. Remember in the last program, he was like, I'm tired, boss. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to carry your water. These people on college campuses, they're not buying your story and they don't like you, and all they do is pepper me with it. Half my questions are about this. You've got to take some of this on yourself. That's the context in which he joins this Zoom chat and blows off steam. I imagine, because I think he's a pretty decent guy, he probably didn't tell them one thing and do something else. He probably told Mr. Netanyahu that Mr. Netanyahu needs to do his own dirty work. And he didn't want to do the dirty work anymore. And he probably told the Zoom call people the same thing, if I had to guess, because that would be consistent. That would be consistent. That would make Charlie Kirk a consistent, honorable man. At 3:21 p.m. So that's till 4 p.m. At 3:21 p.m., while he's on this Zoom call, Brian Harpole lands in Salt Lake City. And we have independently confirmed that even though this is just a booking, that this flight was taken and he actually did land sometime around 3:21 p.m., maybe 5 minutes either side of that. So while he's on the Zoom call, Brian Harpole is landing in Salt Lake City. 4:50 p.m. We're getting up closer and closer to the text messages. 4:50 p.m. Charlie Kirk texts back to a shill group. Thank you for the help today, guys. That's 4:50 p.m. Charlie Kirk time. Thank you for the help today, guys. And then Josh writes back, good luck as the campus visits start. Don't hesitate to let me know or any of us know how we can help. What's your first big stop tomorrow, by the way? Someone said, honored to be of assistance. Charlie Kirk says, Utah Valley University. That's at 8:26 p.m. that he says that. 8:26 p.m. He says, Utah Valley University. And at 8:40, someone weirdly says, say hi to your Antifa friends. And Charlie puts up prayer hands at 8:41 p.m. A little dark, considering he supposedly texted Brian Harpole, or somebody that I think is Brian Harpole, that he thought the left was trying to kill him. because that is now we have context to put this text in a time frame. 6:48 p.m. I'm somewhat worried about the left trying to kill me. 6:48 p.m. on Telegram. So again, put it in there. Between the text to the Zionist shill group at 4:50, 2 hours later, he says, I'm worried the left is trying to kill me. That was right after say hi to your Antifa friends. Interesting. So what happened after that text? Well, we have a little bit of a clue here from the New York Times. After the text message, sometime that evening, on the evening before Mr. Kirk traveled to Utah, he and his wife met for dinner in the Phoenix area with a friend who was a faith leader. The purpose was to pray together over Mr. Kirk's imminent tour of roughly 20 campuses. Both Miss Kirk and the friend were worried. Both Miss Kirk and the friend were worried. Well, I mean, she said in other publications they put their kids to bed about 8 or 8:30. So you would think that the dinner took place shortly around, maybe ended by 8 or 8:30, so that they could get the kids back and put them together. So it's right after this dinner where they were worried that somebody tells Charlie Kirk, say hi to your Antifa friends. That would be 8:40 p.m. So a couple of hours after he sent the text message to presumably Brian Harpole saying, I'm worried, somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me. Then he goes to dinner with his wife and a minister friend, and they pray, and they were both worried. And then someone says, say hi to your Antifa friends. That's all we have from that night. It's all the details we have from that day so far. But it puts it in context. It puts in context the messages that Smoke Boy released. There was a lot going on that day. Group chats about Jewish donors leaving. Dinners where your wife is worried for your presumably life, physical safety at least, but maybe life. Your Zionist shill buddies saying, say hi to your Antifa friends. The last words they spoke to him were, say hi to your Antifa friends. A lot going on in there. Zoom calls, group messages. The next day he's dead. The next day he's dead. So do I think the message is real? Maybe, actually. Maybe. It's too easy to say it's not real, especially when you can just export the data, export it as a JSON file, and you can verify that the servers indicate that the messages were sent at that time. If they really get any hard pushback that the text messages might be real, it would be very easy to just drop that section of the JSON report. Smart people will know what it means. You can look at it. You can see timestamps down to the second, maybe even the millisecond, if I'm not mistaken. Content, sender, who received it, all that stuff. The only question I have is really not, is it real? I kind of believe it is, but who did he send it to? And I'm pretty confident it was Brian Harpole. And I think that's consistent with the early rumors that they intended to sue Brian Harpole, and then they fired him about the time they, I think, would have discovered this text message, this Telegram message. I'll say this, man. You can't imagine a more tortured final day. I believe there was a plot to take him out. I don't think Tyler Robinson did this on his own. I don't think Tyler Robinson did it. We're getting a lot of information behind the scenes. I wish I could share it with you, but the time is not right. A lot of people after the preliminary hearing are opening up and saying, I don't believe it either. Here's what I know. You know, I mean, a lot of people, and I can't even tell you the types of people because it might give it away who it is. But it's coming fast and furious. Emails, text messages, phone calls, the whole thing. Those closest to the actors involved in this story are buying it. They don't buy the story. They don't buy the story. I was going to go through the anatomy of a flip-flopper. I'm going to save that to tomorrow just because it's already an hour and a half in, and it would take me at least 30 minutes to go through that. But when I do, I think what you'll find is a whole lot of other people didn't believe it at first either. A whole lot of people now claim wholeheartedly they believe it, and the evidence is overwhelming. For the first month at least, did not believe the story. And the key I want to key in on when I talk about these flip-floppers doing the flip-flop, the Fed slop flip-flop, I want to show you that they're not flip-flopping on anything that's changed. The stuff they're flip-flopping on is like, can you see the gun on the roof? Can you see the gun in his hand when he jumps off the roof? Can you see the gun in his hand when he runs across the grass? Like, there's no evidence has changed. That video is the same as it was. If you couldn't see a gun on October 2nd, can you see a gun today? No. If you didn't buy the story about the gun being found in the woods on October 2nd, there's nothing that's changed today that would make you now buy it. If you didn't buy the idea that a 30-06 could stop in his neck in just a few inches of meat, you're not going to buy it today. Like, physics hasn't changed since October 2nd. So we're going to go back and start holding these people to account for the things they've said. And when we do, what you're going to find is something changed. They had these opinions. There was an event. And then their opinions were completely opposite after that. Or shortly after that event, their opinions changed dramatically. And so I want to go through that, but I don't have time to do it tonight. I do have time to ask you to hit the like button. I do have time to ask you to subscribe if you haven't. I do have time to mention the membership benefits. We do a member show each week. They're fun. They're a lot of times they're uplifting or they're a little weird, perhaps. Talk about alternative stuff, alternative weird stuff. So all you got to do is click the join button on YouTube. If you join from a browser and not your Apple device, not your YouTube app on your Apple device, it saves you $3 a month. I don't know why Apple charge you. I don't get a cut of that, so I don't care if you pay it or not. But if you don't want to pay it, don't. It's $3. I mean, it's real money. And so you can join that way. You can jump on Real Baron Podcast and you can get some merch. We got a lot of cool merch up. A lot of people have bought that decoy shirt. I mean, a lot of people have bought the decoy shirt. I'm not sure if the price has gone up yet or not. I know at some point this weekend they were going to force us to make it go higher. I don't know if they've implemented that change yet or not, but if they have, it's still a bargain. It's still a bargain. So I got to do something. I normally go right into comments. I have to go to the bathroom. I have to go to the bathroom. I cannot possibly wait another second. So those of you who never get a chance to hear the intro because you always watch this on replay, well, guess what? Today, you guys get to hear the intro a second time for those of you who are watching live, and for the first time for those of you who always catch a replay and have never heard it because I always clip it out. I'll be right back. It's all the goat water. So here's what happened. I was really under the weather earlier this week, and I thought I might have had a bug, but I don't think I had a bug at all. I think what happened was I got dehydrated. Remember Monday we took my son to college? Well, I didn't want to be stopping on the drive and having to pee. I didn't want to. You get on a college campus, you're walking around, there's really nowhere to go to the bathroom. So I intentionally consumed fewer liquids that day. Like instead of drinking a large tea, I drank a little double of espresso. Instead of hydrating myself with delicious goat water, not a sponsor, all day long, I chose rather to not do that. And what ended up happening is I got dehydrated over the course of the day. Yeah, badly dehydrated over the course of the day. And then over the next several days, I didn't realize I was dehydrated, and I felt bad. And when you feel bad, you don't want to like pound water. And so I was not rehydrating myself. Well, finally, like Wednesday or Thursday, I was like, I got to get over this. So I just started just drilling water, and all of a sudden I felt like $1 million. I felt great. I felt amazing, and I felt amazing ever since. But I didn't want to get dehydrated again, so I've been just crushing water for the last few days. And so I'm using the restroom more than I usually do. I wasn't able to make it the full show. I'm glad, though, you guys were able to hang with me. And now, ladies and gentlemen, with your permission, I shall get to your comments. And for those of you who've never heard the break music, there it is. That's what you hear on the intro every day. And the comments coming up, that's what you're missing. That's what you're missing, not watching live. B and jury, please pray. Had to close our family business this weekend after 12 years. It just can't support our 3-generation family anymore. Really need new jobs. Been searching for past year. Christ is king, as always. I will certainly pray for you. Certainly pray for you. With the cost of goods going up, it's harming a lot of small businesses. There's no doubt about it. Your Tyler timeline, 1229. What a dirt area. Is that a camper 18-wheeler with an air vent on top and a row of cars? Not an 18-wheeler camper, no. I'm not sure what it is, but no, it's not. Every jump on the like button. Now we're jumping. Take it easy. Don't break your stuff. Don't break your stuff trying to like the show. He was a pro at taking the gun apart in seconds on the roof, which only had 2 screws, but couldn't do it fast enough to get straight to his car instead of hiding in the woods. Come on. All right, I'm going to say it. Probably the last time I'm ever going to say it. I've been saying it now for like 11 straight months. He did not take the gun apart on the roof. That was something the governor said very early on. It was the only time it was ever stated, and then they quickly changed that narrative and said he did not, in fact, take the gun apart on the roof. If you want to be favorable to the governor, he just misunderstood the facts. If you want to be skeptical or conspiratorially minded, which I favor often, you can say that they were originally going to say he took the gun apart on the roof, but that story fell apart when they looked at the camera and they realized how fast he skedaddled. So I don't know which is true, but I know that they've changed that narrative. Hello, grand jury. Love your comment, my content, my B. Well, I love your comment, my M. But Baron, could you show the framed poster again? I want to send a pic to my brother. Otherwise, I have to look through the member shows. Great song by Los Lobos. Saint Behind the Glass. Christ is King indeed. Well, let me get a picture of it real fast. And then I'll show you a picture of it. There you go. And it's even got a little stuff in it. There you go. It's all framed up, looking good. Now, that is historical artifact glass. I didn't even know that stuff existed. Or historical document glass, maybe. And it's in the frame. It has shock mounts within the frame so that if it drops, the document doesn't get damaged. The glass doesn't break and damage the document. Like, this is the stuff they put parchment in from the early national founding. That's how highly I think of this, by the way, Cohen film. And so, yeah, that was not an inexpensive frame job. Don't tell Mrs. Coleman. She might be watching. It was fine, Mrs. Coleman. It was like taking it over to Hobby Lobby. Yeah, Hobby Lobby. And thank you for that, Cohen film. Lid video, Life is Driving video. Who's the guy in the black in the back behind the guy in the red shirt's phone around the 22-minute mark? Black shirt, hat, white shoes, jeans. I don't know. You're lucky it's early. I'm willing to look it up. You're lucky it's early. If you can hear it, Candace is talking because I accidentally started her video. All right, let's go back. 22-minute mark. We'll watch together. How about that? We'll make a day out of it. I won't pull a Baron on this one. I'll actually pull it up and show you. All right, so we're at the 21-minute mark. Let's go forward to the 22-minute mark. You said about the 22-minute mark. What are we looking for? Back behind the guy in the red shirt's phone. I don't even know what that means. You talking about that guy right there? Black shirt? No, black shirt. Hat, white shoes, jeans. Black shirt, hat, white shoes, jeans. Maybe I got to roll forward. Let me turn the sound off. No, they did switch it at the 22-minute mark. Right there. No, they didn't. You talking about that guy right there? I don't know. I have no idea what you're trying to say, red shirt's phone. If anybody saw it, you can take a stab. The answer is I don't know. I don't know. I wish I could tell you. We appreciate you. We need you. We pray for your family. I need you, Lisa Speller. I appreciate you. I'll pray for you, Lisa Speller. Thank you. Pickles, smokes. You got his diet covered. No, he can't eat the pickles, though. He's not allowed to have the pickles. Well, he can, but can't get into them. He's got to have his wife open the jar for him, maybe. Did you watch the Ian Went Jeb Jacoby interview? No, I did not. I'm familiar with who an Ian Went is. I don't know that I've ever seen his content though. But I know he's like a big guy with red beard. I'm partial to guys with red beards because I used to have one. Now it's white. Watch out, Ian. This is what you're gonna look like in 20 years. This is your future, Ian. Opinion regarding drone theory of John Cullen on Jimmy Dore's shows. I will answer this one last time. I stopped taking this question during the last one. I would encourage you, don't ask me this again without additional information. I watched it now twice, John Cullen on Jimmy Dore's show. I've watched John Cullen's other content on it. I am not convinced. I'm not convinced that a drone we never see was mounted with a rifle and took a shot of 300 blackout at Charlie Kirk from 345 yards. I'm not convinced. Is it possible? Sure. But you got to have evidence. And knowing that this platform exists is not evidence. It's not evidence. I like John Cullen. I think John Cullen's done great work in the past. I think John Cullen may do great work in the future. I think John Cullen could potentially do great work on this issue, but you got to come up with something more than, I know this platform exists and that would have been a good location. Like there's a lot of things that could have happened that would have been great locations and things that exist. Guys, camera, if you're going to freeze me, don't freeze me looking like this. Why don't people demand the Charlie facing TPUSA camera angle? Will it 100% be shown in court? Well, we have no idea what will be shown in court. How would we? We're not on the prosecution or the defense. I think we're not demanding it because we know they're not going to show it. And I mean, why would they? They've not been cooperative showing anything else. They didn't tell us that Terrell Farnsworth was messing around on a laptop 8 minutes after Charlie went down either. And they still haven't told us where Mikey McCoy went or Blake Neff went. We don't know where any of these people went until they show up at the hospital after 1 o'clock. So I don't know. Would it be effective to subpoena people connected to TPUSA to testify in a preliminary hearing? Preliminary hearing testimony is over. Would it be effective? Yeah, maybe. But there's no more opportunity. The hearing's over. In the spirit of truth, why don't they also release the text CK said he received, calling him an anti-Semite and questioning his moral character? It's those first 5 words. That's the problem. There's no spirit of truth that I can discern. I love your content, even though I'm on the left. That's okay. You're allowed to like the content, even though you're on the left. I'm on the left on a couple of small issues. Not a lot. I'm pretty far right on a lot of issues. Too far for the Republican Party. They don't like me. They're like, nah, he's too far to the right. But I'm on the left on a couple. Death penalty, I raise that a lot just because that's kind of a well-known leftist issue. There's some economic populist positions that I probably share with left-wingers, maybe not Democrats, but people left of the Democrat Party. And frankly, those are issues shared by people right of the Republican Party. These are not controversial issues. You know, these are things Teddy Roosevelt advocated for. If we could have Teddy Roosevelt back alive for 1 year, I think he could get this country back on track. He didn't put up with all this monopolying. I just made that a verb. He didn't put up with it. He would take you out. You start acting like a monopoly, blah, 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 blah. You just got Roosevelted. TPUSA returning to the crime scene to finalize the story before the trial when it comes. Love you, Baron Daisy, and all the high IQ saints. Yes, we reported on that last show. Granted, it was during the comment section, but we did say that they have finalized, as we reported days before they finalized it. Nice having sources inside TPUSA. It just is. I'm just telling you guys time and time again. They can't fire enough people. They can't. They try. They're cutting all these people loose, bringing in 150 new people, and our source is still there going, they're going back to UVU. They're going to have a party on the 10th of September. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. I'm just telling you. But yeah, they're going to go back, and I can't see any reason they would be going back there except to taint the jury pool, get a bunch of local media to cover it, get their side of the story out, have some sort of emotional heartstring pull. It's ludicrous, to my opinion. It's ludicrous. So does Daisy have Italian greyhounds like me, or is it a fun avatar? Love it all. Christ is king indeed. She does not have Italian greyhounds. Apparently there's some famous YouTuber, and that's her dog. That's it. She tried to explain it to me one day, and I was like, say less. Not because I understand it, just because I've heard all I need to hear. Baron, please check the screenshot right bottom next to microphone button. It really looks fake. Weird pie chart. It's not a pie chart. That's it's one of the reasons I knew this was Telegram. That's how they do their time. It looks wilted. I don't know if they're big fans of that artist that used to draw wilted clocks or what, but that is evidence it's Telegram. It's not evidence it's a fake. Whatever that is, thank you. Drinking goat water while wearing RBP merch. I've been influenced. It's amazing water. It's not a sponsor. I would love for them to be a sponsor. I'm tired of buying their water. Send me a couple cases, and I'll just kind of slyly work it in here every show. I was parched, but now I'm revived. Miracle water. But they don't. Just like Adidas doesn't sponsor, and I give them all this free advertising. That's okay, though. I'm me. Hello from your biggest fan in Gunnersville, Alabama. God bless you and your family. Christ is king indeed. Gunnersville, home of Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth, friend of your humble host. Really nice guy. I've known Will since before he ran for public office. He came and sat down in my office talking about should he run for public office. This was back in 2014, maybe. He was going to run for a House seat. It was occupied by a Democrat, and he wanted to beat that Democrat. Or maybe there was I can't remember the exact story, but asked our opinion, and I said, run, baby, run. I think it's a wide open seat as far as I see it, and I'd much rather have you in there than that guy. And he did a good job. He did a great job. And he's now, I think, temporarily at least retiring from public office at the end of this term. Mr. C, number one in Aiken, still sober, mask goer. I did heads up comp goat water Callaway Blue at 1/6 the cost. Callaway wins. Wilson's and Harpole's veracity are traumatically absent. Praying for your fam. Christ is king indeed. I'll accept your results of your challenge. I'm not advertising for any water. I'm just telling you that I like this. It's delicious. Aiken, South Carolina, by the way, that's where all FBI radiological and nuclear material goes to be examined. It's weird how often planes flew there from the FBI in the immediate aftermath of the Charlie Kirk assassination. I don't know why. I don't know what to make of that. Hello, Baron. Sending love to you, Daisy, and your family from your true number one Northwest Arkansas fan. Appreciate all your hard work. Christ is king indeed. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Breakfast for dinner is great. That is all. I always feel like that's a cop-out. Breakfast for dinner. It's nice. It's fun. Kids like it. Apparently, Mr. Com likes it. But it always feels like it's a cop-out. Like we don't have anything else, but there's always eggs and sausage in the fridge and some bacon. Fire it up. Let's go. If we find out why he said they'd kill him tomorrow, will we find out who? What made him say that? Also, crazy he showed up at UVU still. I'd be hiding. Crazier still that his security team did not like the looks of the venue and sent him in anyway. But I digress. Hey, Big B. That's it. I'm getting on Ozempic. I can't have me be called Big B. I want to wish my amazing, beautiful daughter, Skylar Lynn Johnson, happy 31st birthday yesterday, the 22nd. Mom loves you, kiddo. Christ is king indeed. And I just learned something new. I had no idea Raging Stormcloud was a mom. I thought she was a dad. I apologize, Raging Stormcloud. It won't happen again. But not a lot of women like Raging in their name. But happy birthday, Skylar Lynn Johnson. 31 years. Just saying thanks for all you do. You too, Daisy. Kristen, thank you, Critter. Appreciate it. Proud Baronet here. It would have been easier to say the killer got away or CK died in his sleep. Why go through all this trouble, in your humble opinion? Public message. Public message. Yeah. You wanted to frame it on a leftist. They've given the game away. They're like, well, we kind of hoped that his death would kick off this new right-wing renaissance that lasted 100 years. Why did you hope that? When did you start hoping that? I would kind of hope we'd find out who did it. I hope we deploy all resources to try to figure out who killed Charlie Kirk, how, and why. But you guys are letting no crisis go to waste and trying to politicize it. Oh, wonderful. But you can't politicize it if he dies in his sleep. You can't go after Antifa or the left if he dies in his sleep. No. What are your thoughts on Tucker Carlson's relationship with Peter Thiel and his father's involvement in the CIA? Any reservations? Thanks for all you do. Not real reservations, not really. I mean, I know people get a little weirder about the Thiel thing than the dad in the CIA. I mean, his dad worked at the CIA. And until I find evidence he did, I don't think he worked there. So I'm not really worried about what his dad did for a living. I mean, what if his dad was a mechanic at a Ford shop? Does that mean Tucker's particularly mechanically inclined? Not necessarily. So I'm not too worried about the dad at the CIA thing. The Peter Thiel thing, I see why people get weird about that, because Peter Thiel is kind of obsessed with the Antichrist for some reason. And he seems to be making technology that could imprison all of us. I mean, I think you put those two facts together and it's kind of, all right, I'm a little in the weird camp. A little weird, to be honest with you. Just on that one, not the other. High IQ not as important as high spiritual IQ, which I call SQ. Your discussions are for high SQ folks. I know a lot of high IQ people with very low SQ. All right, I'll allow it. I love Candace, but I don't agree with her take that Lindsay Clancy isn't guilty. I agree with Big Pharma point, but murder's wrong. I hope she clarifies her stance so it doesn't get used against her moral judgment. I haven't followed the case closely enough. The little pieces I've heard, I don't understand why it's such a contentious issue. I don't know why all the people who are trying to, there's something weird about it. I did actually today, while I should have been working on this program, spent about 30 minutes running down a rabbit hole on the Lindsay Clancy case with respect to, I don't know if it's her psychiatrist or psychologist or what it is, some guy she's met with like 60 times. And apparently he's the only person she ever confessed to. It's a little bit like the Tyler Robinson case, where the only person he supposedly confessed to was Lance Twiggs, who's a weirdo. And supposedly this other person she only confessed to and no one else is also a little bit of a weirdo, allegedly, in my opinion, based on his bio. Maybe I'll cover that another day. So I did look into that. I ran down that rabbit hole a little bit. So let's just remove her confession. What do we have? Do we have evidence she did it? I don't know. I haven't followed the case closely enough. I really haven't. I don't know the answer to that. And if she did it, does she have culpability? Does she have mens rea? And by that, I mean, let's take Victor Marks. Victor Marks confesses that he killed a man when he was like 7. Well, can we hold that against him? Did he have moral culpability in that? Let's just take it at face value and assume it's true. I don't necessarily believe the story, but let's just allow it for the sake of this discussion. Can we say that because Victor Marks did that at 7, that he somehow is morally culpable for doing it? I don't know. Because the question of one is one of agency. Did he have the agency to commit the crime? Well, he says his dad wrapped his hands around his hands and he's only 7. Well, with Lindsay Clancy, there was a slew of pharmaceutical drugs on board when she did that. Could any one of those or a combination of those, have they ever been tested in that combination to know what kind of effect they have on the human body, the human psyche? Could it elevate to a possibility where she did not have the mens rea? For example, if you dose me with LSD and I don't know you did, and I do something crazy and kill someone, I'm not morally culpable. You put me on a drug I did not intentionally take, and it caused me to do something insane. I have no culpability whatsoever. Not morally. I don't even think legally in that situation. Now, if I intentionally take it and then go do something crazy, well, that's the risk you take when you take drugs, kids. You might do something crazy, and you're going to be held accountable. But with the big pharma point, I mean, if a doctor puts you on a drug and then puts you on like 8 more, and then someone else puts you on a few more, I don't know how many there were, but it was like a long list, like a laundry list of drugs. At some point, I think we could all agree, at some point, you would become incapacitated and unable to think for yourself and unable to be accountable for your decisions. Did she reach that point? I think that's the question of the trial. In my opinion, that's the question. And I don't know how I or some Fed slopper TPUSA person like Andrew Colvett or Jack Posobiec or any of these other people that want to weigh in on it, Blake Sneff, I don't know if he's weighed in on it, but I don't know how anybody can sit in judgment on that. You don't have the evidence. You don't have the facts. You don't know. Yes, it's always wrong to kill kids. Always. Whether it's the U.S. military lighting up a elementary school in Iran, whether it's the Israeli military lighting up an entire region in Gaza, whether it's Lindsay Clancy strangling her kids to death. I mean, it's always wrong. Always, 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 always wrong to kill kids. But I'm talking about the moral and legal culpability. Could there have been something that alleviates that culpability? And if so, does that culpability nevertheless remain and need to get placed somewhere else, like on the doctors? I don't know the answer to that. But I know the answer to this. There's no way that the medicine that was being practiced on Lindsay Clancy is consistent with the medical standard in the relevant community. There's no way. It can't be. Because if it is, we've got to reevaluate the way we do mental health. There's no way that is good medicine to put somebody on that many different drugs at once. No way. In my opinion, now this is just my opinion. Don't come after me, Big Pharma. But if that is considered sound medicine, and remember, in medicine, we for purposes of liability, we say, are you doing what other people would do in the same or similar circumstances? Is this the way medicine is practiced in your community? Is this the medical standard in the relevant community? There's no way that can be right. As I look at it, it shouldn't be. I'll say that. Even if it is, it shouldn't be. That's my opinion. My opinion. We shouldn't have people on that many mind-altering substances. Keep in mind, when you're correcting a deficiency in the mind, it's not like you're pulling out a sample and saying, oh, they've got a lack of this neurotransmitter. We have a drug that can boost that neurotransmitter. No, they're just boosting it. There's no pretest to see if you're deficient in it. There's no analysis of your cerebrospinal fluid or brain slices taken out to evaluate whether you have or do not have a sufficient quantity of neurotransmitters. They just put you on the drug. And that's maybe for one drug, okay, you can control for all the variables. But when you start mixing and matching and you start mixing and matching at that level, I just don't see how that works. And so I don't opine on the Lindsay Clancy case because I don't know enough about it. I don't know whether this combination of drugs has ever been tested. Has it been used? Is this the standard of practice in the relevant community? I don't know. I'm not an expert on that stuff. And so I can't tell you whether she's guilty or not guilty, but neither can anyone else, in my opinion. Neither can anyone else. No one should be opining on her guilt. There are 12 people who will sit in judgment of her. Those are the only 12 people that should be opining because, and frankly, I wonder whether they should be opining, but that's a different story. That's a different story. That's all I got. Hey, B, have a moida of crows in my area. Been having more and more interaction each year for the past 3. Hadn't named any till this year. In your honor, they're now the Coleman family. Thanks for all you do. Well, I'll pull your comment down so you can see my crow. One of our beautiful listeners gave me. Had it shipped in from Amazon. But yeah, I'm a big fan of crows. So take care of them. Take care of them. They'll turn on you too. So take care of them. Don't let them turn on you. I missed the grand jury. Catching up because I was on vacay. Most important questions. How's the grandbaby? Any milestones? Also, have you done an opening statement yet on Lindsay Clancy? God bless you. Well, I just answered the Lindsay Clancy case. Maybe consider that a mini opening. Maybe I'll do one that kind of further elucidates what I just said. Grandbaby and milestones. No, it's 3 months today. She's 3 months old today, though. She's a looker. She's a beautiful little girl. We will miss you, Baron, but we want you to enjoy your time away. Well deserved. Thank you. Appreciate that. Just happy to be here. It's not really away. It's just not on air. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Just happy to be here. Catching alive. Enjoy your time off next weekend. Hubby and I will be celebrating 13 years next Saturday. Happy 13th. Happy 13th. EK had access to CK's phone even while alive. Couldn't she send message? Maybe someone suggested that to her. Thanks, B, for keeping open mind. Great job. Christ is king indeed. I hadn't considered that. It's a good thought. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know whether she did have access, but maybe she did. I'm a host. Your 75 to 85% comment about Wednesday's show gave me some PTSD from Andrew Wilson's comment in the debate. That is from whence I derived the inspiration for that comment. The next desperate steps will be to vilify him directly. They will start laying little verbal Easter eggs about his character and prep to eventually make him out to be the monster to save themselves. These may be the first signs. What cowards! Love you, B. I agree. You're talking about Charlie Kirk, and I agree. I mean, they seem to be set. That's the next phase. I don't know what phase number we're on, but the next phase, they seem locked in. The key, they got one key turned, and the other guy's got his hand on the key, getting ready to turn it. And it's make Charlie Kirk out to be a heinous, hideous liar. Just destroy his character at all costs to save our own soul. Not our souls. I don't think your souls are in good standing right now. But make him out to be horrible to try to make us look good. And I don't like that. Let's pretend text is true. If you were TPUSA, wouldn't you go hard against the left as soon as possible? Instead, they demonize anyone asking questions. There's no rage against the left from them at all. That's true. You, Candace, and others do an online memorial service September 10th with all of us. Video clips of the many people affected by his life. You signing up for the not open position of producer or director of the program? Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Little Gary, were you eyes bays Valhalla last night? Were you watching? I don't know. I'm not him. I can't answer. I could try to answer as him. No. Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks, Gary. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate that. Baron, I don't think you're two-faced. If you were, surely you wouldn't be wearing that one. That kid, you kidding. You're a handsome guy. Thank you. BJ Hodig. Thank you. Thank you. Make him do Murph, then debate. Oh, that's a great one. My new conditions. We're doing Murph. You get 3.5 hours to debate. You got to do Murph first. That's a mile run, 100 pull-ups, 100 push-ups, 200 pull-ups, 300. No. 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats. That's it. And then you got to run another mile. Smoke Boy, can you do it? I challenge Smoke Boy to Murph. I will give Smoke Boy $1,000 if he can do Murph to standard, meaning squat below parallel every time, quads and chest on the ground on every push-up, chin above the bar on every pull-up, full extension at the bottom of the pull-up. If he can do Murph within 90 minutes, I'll give him $1,000. The easiest $1,000 he ever made. I'll donate it to his Give, Send, Go. There's your challenge, Smoke Boy. 90-minute Murph. If you give you an idea, the pros do it in under 40, under 45 maybe. Oh, and you got to wear the weight vest. You got to wear the weight vest, 20-pound weight vest. If message sent 9-9, why no ambulance for starters? Good question. Good question. Why no ambulance? That's a great question. I'll allow it. I was hoping Smoke Boy would interject some negative evidence amidst all that positive evidence, but he did not. Let's see. I don't. My camera's overheating. It keeps freezing. New merch. Positive evidence. Gonna miss you when you're gone. Might need rehab since you and the principal will be gone this coming week. I'll be here the first 3 days of the week. Neither one of us usually does a live show on Friday. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll do a member show on Friday. So Fridays should be about normal. Thursdays where you're going to suffer. No principal at between 4 and 6, and no humble host between 6 and 8. That's where you're really going to suffer. Thursday. I got the rest of the week covered. Christ is king indeed, though. I had to chuckle at 75 to 85%. You'll be here Wednesday. Brought back great debate memories, though you're more convincing and far better looking. Oh, Lynn Maria. Thank you. Christ is king indeed. And fitter, Smoke Boy. And fitter. I'm not even going to challenge you to. I'll do it with you, just to show you how to do it. But I'm not going to say, hey, you got to beat me. No. You get the 1,000 if you finish in 90 minutes. I don't think you can finish in 90 minutes. I don't think you got that many pull-ups in you, much less 2 miles of running and all those push-ups. No, Smoke Boy's toast. Toast, Smoke Boy. I don't trust anything from people who are backed by the groups that have back doors into every conversation and device. Metadata is great, but does anyone here feel it is infallible to these groups? No, not at all. 1/4, 1 of 4. Wow. My 79-year-old dad, George, passed away on Wednesday. Please pray for his soul that he may rest in eternal peace and be welcomed into God's light. I will do that, Bella Blue. I'll pray for George. Thank you. TPUSA needed the biggest Jester Joker money can buy to create the big diversion. My concern is, what have they been up to behind the smoke screen? I like that. Recent movements deals need to be scrutinized. Christ is king indeed. 2 of 4. We're on message 2. And please say an extra prayer for my mom, who lost her soulmate of 56 years. Her peace and strength the past few days is immeasurable as we navigate this mortal world without him. Those are very beautiful words about your kind and loving mother. So I will say a prayer for your mother as well, Bella Blue. Who would show up at a debate they had pressed for without prep? Perhaps a R word? Those are his words, not ours. What was the point of having fact checkers if Andrew wasn't going to show the messages? Would have been easily dismantled if Candace caught that. Apparently they weren't validated at the time, and he never publicly released the validation. Do you think they would accept that if Candace was like, hey, I talked to the credit card processor. It was Tyler Robinson. They'd be like, yeah, we'll take your word for it. Yeah, we'll take your word for it. It happened. Or would they request that she publicly produce what she got? Maybe we should require the same. 3 of 4, my Marine son was on a plane heading home when Dad passed. His papa always wanted to grab a beer with him, so my son and I went to B-Dubs Friday to toast his papa. I got up from bar to step outside, and a stranger waved at me and pointed to my high IQ shirt. What a wonderful story, Bella Blue. That's a great way to memorialize. See, I'm not anti-alcohol. I hope neither one of you has a problem, in which case I am. But great. Raise a toast to your dad and his grandpa. What a beautiful moment. What a beautiful moment. And the high IQ wave and point is even better. I'm just kidding about that. It's not even better. Imagine how soulless you must be to sit across from a woman, heartbroken and determined for justice over the violent taking of her friend, to say, I have never before seen evidence and I will drip it behind a paywall versus let you review it. I don't think he dripped it behind a paywall, but he did drip it on his platform. The message isn't real. Telegram has never had the 6-month indicator in the chat bar, and when the other person quoted Charlie's message, the quote has a blue bar when it should have a purple bar. I'm willing to accept evidence that it's not real. They do have a 6-month option depending on which version you're on, so I'm not gonna account for that. But if you think the color is wrong, I mean, take a look at it, prove it, and we'll question the veracity. Until then, I'm going to kind of operate as if it's true. Text message proves what CO has implied the whole time, a conspiracy There are Zionists who are leftists, for example, Barry Weiss. Well, Charlie said that that's who funds the left. Charlie Kirk. That's what he said. PBD face equals tuck face, greater than tuck face. Oh, in that instance, it was that. Now, Tucker, over time, has probably higher quality tuck face over an extended period of time. But PBD face in that moment, you're right. It was better. That was great, PBD. 4-4. Bella Blue, thank you. This has been very kind. I've been wearing my high IQ shirt often, hoping to meet like-minded people. I asked if she was an RBP groupie too. She and I have a lot in common and are now BFFs. Thank you, Dad, for sending a friend, and thank you, Baron, for the most amazing community. Oh, man, you just warmed my heart in ways I can't even begin to describe. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, B, will you give a happy birthday shout-out to my stepdaughters, Emily and Lindsay, who have both birthdays. A high IQ family in Northeast Tennessee. I love the show. Christ is King indeed. Happy birthday, Emily and Lindsay, who both have birthdays this week. And I've been to Northeast Tennessee, the Tri-City area there. I gave a seminar or a speech, or I don't know what it was, a while back to the Public Defenders Conference in Tennessee. And have gone to a race up there in Bristol. So beautiful part of the country. Stayed in Johnson City. In beginning of investigation, Candace said, CK message, they're going to kill me. And not the left specifically. Was that a different message than we're seeing now, or just the same one missing the left? I think I explained that during the show. I hope you caught it. I see your messages before the show. Hey, Baron, just wanted to share that hubby and I like to silly dance. Oh, actually, that was during the show, but it may have been before I said that. Silly dance to your prelude music every time. Laughter and cardio is a great message. I hope you stayed around for the intermission. You got a second dose today. What's your thoughts on wound in Charlie's neck possibly being an exit wound from Road Mike? I put that at near zero. Why would Charlie Kirk need to remind his team to cover him? Yeah, that's a good point. Like, you hire security, that's it's like hiring a barbecue guy to come in and like, you're going to have a party the next day and you're like, I need 20 pounds of barbecue. I need some baked beans. I need some coleslaw, maybe some collard greens, some macaroni and cheese, corn rolls. You've hired them. You've paid them their money. The party's the next day. Are you going to write to them the night before and be like, I need you to make sure you bring the barbecue? Well, yeah, that's what you paid us to do. You have one job. It's to bring the barbecue. I know. I'm a barbecue guy. I run a smokehouse. I mean, does that make sense? That's a good call. Suppy, if the TPUSA Dream Team lie or show fake evidence via proxies, does it still count against them? St. Peter. Also, the AW head move was money. It was. It was indeed. I object to Dream Team. If TPUSA lies or shows fake evidence via proxy, yeah, I think it counts against them. Charlie never wrote messages like that. He used proper grammar. He was brilliant. And if he was talking about the left, he must have known where TF and his crew would be set up. Oh, I don't read it that way. I don't read it that way. And a lot of people that write with perfect grammar sometimes get it wrong on text. That proves nothing. Top of the phone is cut off. Anyone could have wrote that. Name isn't even attached. I don't see any dates, only times. Ridiculous. Whole case is insane. Good job, Baron and team. I'm going to push back on some of that because we do have a date. We have times. And we already acknowledged the name was blacked out. So there is a name. It's just blacked out. The name's up here over waiting for network. It would be right here. There would be some kind of an indication here of what's going on. And there's the date right there, September 9, 2025. So I'm pushing back on some of that. Top of the phone cutoff, it's not. There's the airplane mode, the battery life, the date, the do not disturb button. I mean, it's all there. So I'm going to push back on some of that, but I agree the whole case is insane. And please pray for my city, Reno, Nevada. Hawk fire is a beast, and wind just started back up. 90,000 people displaced. Thank you, RBP community. Isn't that the home of one Andrew Colvette, if I'm not mistaken? Andy, where were you? Not that he would start a fire. So now I need to believe his employees, security, are on the left. Changes nothing about their actions that day. 75 to 85% chance of Wednesday show. Is that overwhelming? Well, depends on who you ask. I say no. The date is splitting two messages. Looks weird. Well, that's just because the date sits there, and as you scroll, the date stays. That's all that is. I just want to say Charlie's messages to even Candace did not have proper grammar or spelling. His handwritten notes were worse without autocorrect. Prayers from Florida. Widowed mama. Christ is king indeed. Well, thank you. Thank you for all of that. Good intel and for your prayers. Thank you. I'm somewhat worried about the left trying to kill me. And released text is not what AW read during the debate because I'm somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me. So he misread it in debate. Well, he hadn't verified it. He hadn't verified it. Yeah, you're right. You're right. He misread it, or he misspoke, or he didn't have it before then, which is probably what I think happened. He didn't have it. What did Smoke Boy leave out the word delicately when he read the text in great debate? Why not read it word for word? And Charlie's text to CO were worded differently. He uses better grammar. Christ is king indeed, indeed. I have a feeling, I could be wrong, I'm just speculating, but I have a feeling he did not have the text messages in hand at that time. That was probably fed to him from someone with access to his phone. If I had to guess, allegedly. It looks like the message had been cut and pasted together. Christ is king indeed, perhaps. Curious what question he was answering, starting with the response, yes, does it make sense? Again, we don't have the context. I wish we did. Hey, Baron, Lake Time, 79X said the timestamps in Smoke Boy's edited drop conflict with the public already knowing that Charlie was occupied on a Zoom call with JH at those exact times. Not sure if that is accurate. I don't think he was on a Zoom call at that time. I think he was on a Zoom call between 3 and 4 p.m. And those were at 6:47 p.m. So I disagree with that. Hey, my B, if you want a good giggle, check out Candace's show from Thursday, 29:20 mark, and watch Smoke Boy on the Beavis and Butthead show, smoking 2 cigs at the same time. Much love from Texas. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, the Beavis and Butthead thing is hilarious. I don't think she understands how funny that is because it's hilarious. First timer, why is phone in airplane mode? Because it's Charlie's phone and he's dead. He doesn't need it. Like, subscribe, and buy some merch. It's awesome, I promise. Have a blessed Sunday and week. Jesus loves you all. Loves us all. Thanks, B, Daisy, and Nurse Casey. You're welcome. You're welcome. And thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yeah, the merch is great. It really is good merch. Charlie Kirk told Candace Owens he saw number 11 all the time, even on X name. Okay. Duly noted. Not sure the application to the show, but I'll grant it. I'll grant it. Baronator, you ever been to Pittsburgh? I have, for a July 4th, as a matter of fact. I've been multiple times because I used to do some work there for a grocery chain called Giant Eagle. I think they just got bought out by somebody. Who bought them? Some grocery chain bought them. Maybe Kroger. Come visit number 2. What truck do you have? My husband is deciding between GMC, Sierra, and Toyota Tundra. Thoughts? I don't have either one of those, so I have no thoughts on that. But I have been to Pittsburgh. I did some door knocking and some organizing in Upper St. Clair. It's outside of Pittsburgh, I think, maybe south of Pittsburgh. I've been to Pittsburgh itself. I've been to the Giant Eagle headquarters. Went to a baseball game with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Went to a 4th of July celebration in Pittsburgh. Met some friends that were in Michigan. We drove kind of the middle and met there at Pittsburgh. Got a hotel room and had a great time. It's a lovely city. Someone did get stabbed that night. Right next to us at the 4th of July thing. So that was a little bummer. It wasn't us. We had nothing to do with it. We skedaddled with everyone else. No ambulance and no paramedics for the guy who worried someone was trying to kill him. That's quite a strict bubble. Assassins, however, were allowed. That's a good call. Yeah, I mean, if you're saying you got it covered and he's scared and you're taking extra precautions, medical would have been nice. The problem that keeps coming up when I hear that text Charlie supposedly sent, I can't imagine Charlie saying they're responsible for keeping one person safe. Me. He cared about others too much. Well, he didn't say it quite that way. He said, delicately remind them they are there for one person's security only. And I agree. That does not sound like Charlie. Hi, my B. Finally a paying member. Love the way your brain thinks. Been here since the very first CK video. God bless you. Well, Kelly Fuller, you've got a lot of member shows to catch up on, including the last one, which was pretty good. Got really good reviews. People really like that. Even if these texts were real, they would prove Tyler Robinson did not act alone, wouldn't they? Why would CK say the left if TR acted alone? How would Charlie even know of it if Tyler acted alone? That's my point. If they're trying to say this is some evidence it was Tyler Robinson, how did Charlie Kirk know about Tyler Robinson planning this alone in St. George? Obviously, it wasn't Tyler Robinson alone, or this text message has no application. Exhibit 6A, the test bullets are narrow lands, wide groove placed from an unusual barrel. Aftermarket Steyrs and Brownings use this different rifling. I'll accept your word for it. I know nothing about what you're talking about. JW, have you been cutting out intro song in first 20-ish minutes while live? Usually I can jump in a little late and start the music, but it's been jumping randomly while live still. Did it do it again today? It was doing that last week, and I contacted YouTube, and they didn't know what I was talking about. And I had a nice chat with a lovely person. She didn't do anything wrong, but she couldn't fix it because she'd said she didn't see it. So let me start back at the beginning. Yeah, I did it again today. Hey, Daisy, if you're listening, can you screen grab that so they can see what I'm talking about? Like just the first 10 seconds or so. We don't need a whole bunch. But just show them that it comes in at 0, and it's clearly not the beginning of the show. Well, what's happening, Tatum teams, when I upload the show afterwards, it's working. Like it gets the whole show. And then I go out and cut the first 3 minutes. So maybe you have to go back and watch the first, I don't know. It's usually like 2 minutes it cuts out. And I don't know why it's doing it. The I've got 11 comment will expose who this was. Well, I think it was Brian Harpole. That's the thing that led me to the fact that it was Brian Harpole. That and why would he send it to Dan Flood? And he's obviously sending it to somebody in charge of security. And he supposedly sent Dan Flood a different message on iMessage. So I think it has to be Brian Harpole, the way I look at it. The little white cursor symbol of the word yes, that's correct. That's Smoke Boys. Baron, what's your read on Erica Kirk Epstein angle? Could Trump's resistance to releasing the files and Charlie's murder intersect? So many tout anti-child trafficking work, even Brian Harpole, could that be cover? Well, I've given this answer a lot. I don't know if Trump's resistance is related to it. I have no idea about that. But the anti-child transportation work, I've long suspected is a cover for either that or some other type of transportation of illegal items. Yo, B-Dog. My idea for new merch. I'll allow it. Thank you. My B, you're one of the many reasons I feel proud to be a Hoosier grad. You tuning in for football season? Indeed. I'll watch a few games. But go Hoosiers. Good evening. Edge. Sir, this Wesley kid is frustrating. If he isn't LT, he should just say so. People are trying to verify his ID. Was LT really asleep? He's under my skin with his hesitation in giving his name. I'm fine with all that speculation. I'm fine with all that wonder. I'm fine with all that frustration. But what I'm not fine with is stating positively it's Lance Twiggs. You can't know that. I can't know that. No one else can know that. If you prove it's Lance Twiggs, then you can say it. But we don't just say things that we don't know to be true. Doesn't sound like CK. Seems like BH and DF. Is it possible that Andrew and TPUSA are focusing on the Panguitch receipt because they know that the person in Panguitch was a Tyler Robinson decoy doppelganger? That's possible. Israel killed him. No evidence. Well, then you have an opinion. Drone killed him. No evidence. His security team killed him. No evidence. These texts are fake because Smokey Man bad. Oh, okay. Roger that. Maybe CK said the left because he was unsure who around him is real or not. Maybe he learned about ties with security to Ben S's former security guys. Maybe. I mean, just raising possibilities. I can't possibly opine on. RBP Comedy Gold from around minutes 20 to 25. Oh, I'll have to go back and watch it. What did I do? If CK greatest ally if GK thought greatest ally trying to kill him, would he tell his security team who he thinks are his friends, but maybe not enough to accuse greatest ally to, or would he just say the left to get them to be diligent? Oh, I don't know. It's a thought. It's a thought. I can't get inside his head. He's dead. I can't ask him. Clock Tower, deal 9-8, public 918, the 10-day faro window, yet only an unsigned 827 draft filed. Charlie wasn't meant to see it. Dig into this. We did a whole show on it. I think maybe 2 or 3 shows, actually. Smoke Boy is getting too much attention. He has nothing to do with the case. He's not worth our time. Like Neff and AK, they're oblivious and dumb. Thank you. Well, the difference between Smoke Boy and Beavis and Butthead is Beavis and Butthead work there. They go to the embassy, the campus, the TPUSA headquarters. They go there. That's where they work. So I think they are very much valuable people that we should seek information from. Smoke Boy's just Smoke Boy. He's just a random rude guy that with bad habits who can't do Murph in 90 minutes. I don't think you can do Murph in 90 minutes, Smoke Boy. I'll meet you somewhere. Just you and me. We'll just do it. We'll get a pull-up bar and we'll run and we'll pull up and we'll push up and we'll squat and we'll feel great. You don't have to do it straight through. You can segment it. Has anyone asked Hunter Kozak if he was told by TPUSA to ask a question about trans issues or if he's given NDA to sign? I do believe that's been asked, and I believe he said no. Can you imagine the Bourne movie franchise just being TR nonchalantly eating and car washing in between? Lame. Yeah, that'd be a boring movie. I've had an exciting month. I turned 40, became a grandma, have been opioid-free for 12 years. I'm proud of a wonderful community to share this with. Thank you for bringing us together. Well, thank you for that. I love celebrating victories with this community. It's one of the reasons they hate us. They don't like good news. They don't like people improving themselves, and you have improved yourself. Congrats on the new grandbaby. Why is the date just thrown in there? Sus. That's just the way it works. I mean, I could pull up other, I'm not going to because they're private, but I could pull up other Telegram messages and confirm it, which I will do now. Let's see here. Let me pull up a random one. It'll take longer than I thought. The problem is every time someone in your contact list joins Telegram, you get a notice that they've joined Telegram. And so you end up with all these ridiculous notifications in here. I've got a very tidy book, Let me just go here and see. Yeah. So the date just floats. And as you scroll, the scroll goes behind that date. So it's not thrown in there. That's just the UI. That's the way it works. We are the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Don't drop Jesus Christ for a name. Thank you, sir. I'll use whatever nicknames I have to. That's a very long name, and I'm not going to say it every time. Just like I'm sure there are some other clubs that have really long names. I mean, like we say Rhode Island. You know what the real name of Rhode Island is? Can you imagine if you had to say the full name of Rhode Island every time? Let me see here. Where'd it go? Where's the wiki? Rhode Island doesn't have a wiki? I can just, oh, there we go. What's the name of Rhode Island? It's something about, plantations. The Rhode Island and Providence plantations. I'm not saying that every time. I say Rhode Island. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. That's not. I'm not cheesing on the good people of the Providence plantations. So, thank you, Baron. My dad and I are in Utah for business and are making a detour to UVU. Should be interesting. God bless and Christ is King. Good luck, lamb rocker. 3-month dad here now. 8-month dad. Sadly, need to cancel membership due to our family budget. Thanks for the dad tips and great show. We'll miss the members only laughs, but definitely keep up with the main show. Thank you, and congrats on your growing family. Congrats. Speaking of Erica's 9/8 alibi, are we done with Fort Huachuca? Or are we still going to see Mitch's photos of Erica at that hotel in the vicinity? Well, I will say this as far as everybody's evidence. I mean, they're free to release whatever they want on their own timeline with whatever conditions they attach to it if they provided as sources to other people. So that would not be my call. But I will say this with respect to her 9/8 alibi. No, I'm not done with it because she's not provided one. She provided an alibi for 8:30 in the morning on September 9th. Maybe she wasn't there. Maybe she was. But I don't think anything she's done to date has addressed it. No better easy listening during a road trip than the soothing sound of our humble host. You got me through driving anxiety, North Carolina to New York, and now New York to North Carolina. Stopping for sleep near Winchester, Virginia. Much love. Good luck. Good night and good luck. If text shows CK lied regarding CO, we don't lie equals ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. Good luck. That's what you guys are going to do to his legacy. His legacy is going to go from great Christian man to pathological liar. And if that's the detour they want to take this thing, I'm going to question the veracity of their claims at that point. Edge. We know that Dilly has cowboy receipt. Is any party verifying it? I believe D, but it's SB verified for evidence purposes. Once verified, their story fails. I don't know. You'd have to ask a question for him. I have a copy of it. I mean, I've got an unredacted copy. So I know what it says. And I know precisely why he redacted it, and it is to avoid recklessness with respect to the people involved. That's all. That's the reason it's redacted. But we have 2 eyewitnesses placing them there. It's more than they provided on all their evidence. They have no eyewitnesses placing Tyler Robinson on the roof. No eyewitnesses placing Tyler Robinson in the woods near the gun. No eyewitnesses placing Tyler Robinson changing clothes. No eyewitnesses placing Tyler Robinson in the garage. No eyewitnesses placing Tyler Robinson in the stairwell. None. We have 2. I mean, scales of justice are blind, boys. God bless you and keep you and your family safe. Thank you for all you do, and Daisy too. Kind of rhythmic there. Sounds sort of sing-songy. Thanks for all you do, and Daisy too. You are truly doing the Lord's work. Number 1 in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. I had some family in Sheboygan, Wisconsin at one time. There may still be descendants there. I'm not sure. Excellent analysis, Bar, Cole, and Daisy. Thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, Baron and Daisy, for all your hard work. Thank you. And that's a good advice. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is my first super chat. Thank you for what you've created. Usually you can't make a live, but I wanted to let you know what you do makes a difference. Well, thank you, Alva Bergman, 981. Very kind of you. Very kind of you. And thank you for joining the super chat crew. B, I'm so grateful for you in this community. I'm 5 years sober, and the love and feelings. And the love and feelings I get here are the same as I get with my home group in AA. Love you all. Christ is King indeed. We'll stick with it one day at a time. One day at a time. Thank you for sharing. Does Baron or his team read these messages? Are you new to the program? Most nights I pull every one of them up and read them. Some nights I can't because of time, but in his last Tucker interview and Michael Knowles' drinking game interview, Charlie emphatically declares when the Bolsheviks, a sect of socialist Democrats, Marxists, are here, they will off him. And thank you for coverage on CK's coverage of Elon's tweet. Okay. Thank you. Very kind. If you could be invisible and anywhere in the world on 9/10 around the time of the Big Bang, where would you choose to be? Love you, RB. Jesus Christ is King. I would want to be on the Losi Center roof. I mean, am I able to record, or or is this just for my own edification? Because if I'm able to record, I want to be on the Losi Center roof like this to see if he took the shot, or to provide evidence he did not, and to see who it was. So that's if I can record. If I can't record, where do I want to be? Scottsdale Airport. Scottsdale Airport. But why then did both Eric and Harpole say that no such texts about threats were sent or received? Well, if it was Harpole, he probably didn't want people to know it was sent or received. Erica, I have no idea why she said that. Either she didn't know about it or she was lying. Those are really the only 2 options if it's real. She's either lying or didn't know about it. But if you're Brian Harpole, you know about it if it's real. And that was Brian Harpole, which I think it was. But I don't know that. I don't know for sure. BC looking like a German Shepherd while milling about during a very uncrashing Friday while writing poor grammar in a Telegram message. Please make it 100% possible for me to live. Thank you, my B, for a laugh. Well, we didn't crash on Friday. Very uncrashing episode. And we mill about some from time to time. There's a lot of milling in this case. A lot of people milling about in this case. Milling around, milling about, meandering, skedaddling. A lot of it. You're welcome. You're welcome, Susan. Tropical Punch. Wow. Bringing the big dogs. Don't bring my super chat up on your show. You must not know how the show works either. I love you both. Just supporting Go freaking Max. Thank you. You're very welcome. And thank you for that. Thank you. Statue of Charlie sitting in a chair holding a microphone was seen getting off University Parkway exit. Wonder if it's for Memorial 9/10. I can't imagine what else it's for unless somebody's getting a very weird lawn ornament. Honey, should we get the gnome? Should we get the little gnome with the blue hat or the red hat? I was thinking more bronze Charlie Kirk. Yeah, let's go with the gnome. No. Hear me out. Hear me out. I've already ordered it. It's on the way. Oh, man. I was hoping for a little Gary statue. No principal or vice principal for 4 days straight. What the heck? Well, It's a good day to become a member and start watching member shows you haven't seen. Just kidding. Well, I'm not kidding, but it's the redactions. If it's truthful, shouldn't have anything or anyone to hide. I commend you for entertaining it. But it's a no from me, dog. Oh, I'll show you something about the redactions. This is funny. Watch this. Daisy was cooking today. Watch this. I don't know how far back I'll have to go here. Oh, here it is. Don't have to go far back at all. Daisy was cooking on X, ladies and gentlemen. She quote tweeted Smoke Boy. Watch this. You guys are going to love this. Sharp, Daisy, sharp. She quote tweets Smoke Boy, who says, I've seen that receipt. It is conveniently missing any identifiable information, and I'm asking for one that definitively links into the restaurant at that time. Candace said she had it with identifiers, but has yet to show it to anyone. Why? And Daisy says, I've seen the screenshot. It's conveniently missing any identifiable information. We're asking for one that definitively links CK Security to this text at that time. Andrew said he had it with identifiers, but has yet to show it to anyone. Why? Oh, she was cooking, ladies and gentlemen. Get out of her way when she's cooking. You might get hit with grease. You don't want to get splattered. Yeah, it's a no for me, dog. Brian Harpole, shady character in my opinion. He's told so many stories at this point, it's ridiculous. Well, that's your opinion. Could get you sued saying things like that. Baron, just as you remind us at the end of every show, I never want you to forget that Jesus loves you. Thank you, B, for what you do. Thank you. That was very kind of you. Your kind way to send a 6-month member chat. Speaking of Elon, I was surprised to see him and the tech bros embracing Josh Hammer this week. 814 Australia, Rolling Stone article, quote, how saving Western civilization replaced making America great again. I didn't see that. In Sean Ryan's interview with BH, he stated there was no indication of a threat from any group, political or otherwise, and that such information would have come from DF, throwing him under the bus. I showed that. Hey, B, I'm tuning into tonight's live wearing my new RBP hoodie. Your honesty, wit, and consistency give me reason to proudly represent the show. I'm sure you look sharp in it, Andrew J. Tate. Not that Andrew Tate, surely. He's in jail. Hunter had a newborn in the NICU and left the hospital in order to go to the Charlie Kirk event, and he knew ahead of time he was approved to ask a question. We need to dig deeper into this. Well, I did a whole show on that. But I agree, it's worthy of a look. But there's, can you do an AMA part 2 for a member show? I have many questions that didn't get answered. Love from Jekyll Island. Christ is King indeed. I will. I'll do one. I'm not sure when, but I'll do one. You know what I just thought about? I might be able to do one during that 4-day absence. Stay tuned. Thank you, Baron. Your show is always top notch. Keep going, Max. I'll do my best. Baron, further evidence Charlie was still friends with Candace is the text message he wrote to the same group stating he wanted to bring Candace back on tour, I believe, directly before saying he was forced to leave the pro-Israel cause. Yes, that's correct. There's even better evidence, actually. I'm not sure if it'll ever come out, but there's actually better evidence. I'll leave it there. Not mine to share. I'm behind, but why is the phone in airplane mode with no name? I answered that. I hope you saw it. Charlie said the same stuff regarding some of the biggest funders of left-wing causes being Jewish funded when he was on the PBD show. Correct? The left. To mill or not to mill? That is the question. 8:33. Interesting timing. Yeah, tomorrow we're going to dig into that 33 a little bit more because do you know how long he was on campus? The alleged Tyler Robinson? Would it shock you to believe it was exactly 33 minutes? We'll talk about it tomorrow. The font is all over the place with spacing. Edited. I'm loving your insight, Baron. Even if you're right about multi-agency cover-up, TR is guilty alone. What can we do about it? What happens next? I don't know what you mean TR is guilty alone. He would have to be convicted of shooting Charlie. EK couldn't get CO out of CK's life. Maddening for her. Yeah, potentially. Perhaps he didn't trust Brian Harpole, but still wanted protection, hence the left as a reasonable explanation. Maybe he did trust DF and simply said they. I wonder if you put parentheses around. No, I'm just kidding. December 15th, Erica and Candace meeting. Was it only 2 people in the room? Was it face-to-face and private? It was face-to-face. It was private. There were multiple people in the room. Justin Strife was with Erica, maybe one other person. I think Candace had her cousin with her and maybe one other person. I'm not sure exactly who's in the room, but it wasn't only the 2 of them. But yeah, it was private and it was face-to-face. Love your show and your humor mixed with seriousness. Today, I'm 22 years sober. Congratulations. Wow. Long road, but worth it. Never get up. It's worth the work. Christ is king indeed. Indeed, Stephanie. Congratulations. Mr. and Mrs., that's odd for written publication. Not in the New York Times. That's how they do it. Why would EK be worried if Charlie wasn't saying he was worried about being killed the following day? God bless you, Daisy, and your families. Why would EK be worried if Charlie wasn't saying he was worried about being killed the following day? God bless you, Daisy, and your families. Christ is king indeed. There are a lot of negatives in there, so I'm trying to parse it in my head. Why would she be worried? I don't know. Bubba Baron, how about a sticker, not bumper, and magnet merch? Need to decorate my car. Thank you for all you do. God bless. I think the sticker thing we've sort of ruled out because the vendor we use doesn't really have stickers that work. You have to get like a whole sheet of little ones, and it doesn't do much for us. Magnets, I think we could check on. I'm not sure how those work. Didn't CK and Frank walk at 8 p.m. on the roof? Oh, that's a good call. Need to add that to the old timeline, you see. Let me open that back up and see how that would have worked out. So 8 p.m. walk, would have been about the time he got the text. Say hi to your Antifa friends. Would have been about the time he was walking. Interesting. I wonder if Frank went to dinner. Was he the minister they went to dinner with? If CK sent messages, invitation information or whatever to CO, and then he deleted them, do they still exist in CO's app? And can she prove they are authentic? I don't have Apple phone. Yeah, you can't delete an iMessage off someone else's phone after a minute or two. Like you can for a few minutes, but after that you can't. So she was still having. Hey, Baron, never forget Christ is King. Indeed, I will not forget. Are those not the same texts Harpole read on Sean Ryan? I don't think he read those texts on Sean Ryan. Hey, what about the timeline of the texts? Odd? Oh, you didn't tell me what part of it's odd. I tried to put it in a timeline. Charlie never struck me as a guy who believed in naps. Thank you and the team for creating this community for all of us. Your show always feels like a warm hug. Well, Kale, I have no idea about Charlie's napping history. Nap people don't strike me. Nothing strikes me as a nap person or a not nap person, so I don't have that same feeling. But I will say he had just gotten back from Japan and Korea a couple of days ago. Long flights, odd times. Maybe he was hungover, like on the time lag or whatever. When you got to go be. Yeah, I had to go. Sorry, guys. If those texts are genuine. Remember Genuine, the singer, Genuine? What did he sing? Genuine. Genuine? Yeah, Genuine. What did he sing? What was his big hit? Let's see here. Oh, he was the pony guy. That's funny. So when I was younger, I used to say get up on it, but like in a joking way, like, well, get up on it. You know, if somebody needed to do something. My brother-in-law got me on it. But anyway. And so I would say it when my now 19-year-old was very, very young. And one day I said it. She's like, Daddy, why do you always say get a pony? I'm not saying get a pony, honey. We're not getting a pony. We're going to get up on it. If those texts are genuine, you guys see how my brain works? It's exhausting being your humble host. It is exhausting. Couldn't Candace now subpoena Andrew Wilson's texts due to Brian Harpole's lawsuit? You would think so. Especially if they're talking about that. I have a hard time believing Charlie would say, remind them they're there to protect one person. Other people share your sentiment. Been trying to send a super chat, show my appreciation to your great podcast, but I'm apparently a younger boomer. I do love to listen to you, and I think I figured this out. Thank you for everything you do. Christ is king indeed. It's okay, chicken tender. We'll be here for you. We'll be here for you. The real Baron potty break. It happens. Decoy shirt did go up in price from 17 to 21. Still a great price, in my opinion. I agree, and it keeps us in good graces with the people that make the merch. Keeps us in their good graces. So thanks for letting me know. I knew it was going to go up at some point. Mid-show dance break. Heck yes. Love you, B. Dun, 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 dun. Now the people that watch on replay know what we're talking about. I believe Brian told Sean he'd never received anything from CK or anyone about a specific threat. Did you guys send this after? You couldn't have sent this after, because you're sending these after the break. I said that, didn't I? I played that. I showed the transcript where he said that. Shout out to Andy, the customer service guy I argued with over the phone till I said bull butter, and we had common ground with our humble host. Shout out, Andy. I hope you were polite. I hope you were a good representation of our community and you weren't like losing your cool. Sounds like you kept it clean. Oh, this is bull butter. You watch too? Yeah. Do you? It's like you're both in the CIA and you're flashing your little secret CIA badge when you figure out the other one's there on the same op. Hey, I'm one of you. You don't have to be in hiding, guys. Hi from your number one fan on the Sunshine Coast. Have you looked into the differences in the TR car in parking garage and the one police towed? Twin exhaust versus single, front spoiler versus no spoiler. I have. We did a show on that as well. And I don't know what to make of it because sometimes it looks like it's double and sometimes it looks like it's single in the garage. And I'm just wondering if that's some sort of artifact of for lack of a better way to say this, double printing maybe, or double exposure that making it look like it's two. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. Why couldn't they just show us the license plate? That'll be the easiest thing. Here's the license plate. Josh Hammer also sent the based public execution quote tweet on 9/9. Wasn't he in one of the calls with Charlie that day? He was, indeed. It's wild to me that everyone seemed to have bad vibes, and the show still went on. Didn't Candace say Erica's friend didn't send her daughter to the event because she had a bad feeling too? Love you, B. I seem to recall something about that. I don't remember the exact details on that. The Tyler confession. It was me. The very worst time to ever include square brackets. LOL. Love you, B. Jesus loves you. I don't know how that generation texts, so I don't know if that's weird or not. Who was labeled the left in Charlie's phone? I don't know. I don't have his phone. Texts don't prove anything and are kind of irrelevant. There's proof he was pulling away from our greatest ally. Him being fearful of the left doesn't absolve others from guilt. Of course. Of course. He could say, I'm afraid the left's going to kill me, and he could get killed by a right-winger who thinks he was too far left. I mean, it proves nothing. I don't think that's why they're showing it. So Daisy had a theory, and I like it. I think they're trying to force Candace to drop her text messages. They're trying to say, this is the only one that exists. She's crazy. She's a liar. So that she would have to drop hers if she had one. To be clear, I do not know if she has one, but she's referenced this other text. I don't know if she has it or not. I don't remember if she claimed to have seen it or just heard about it or heard from the person. I don't know. I honestly don't remember the story behind it. But I could see them floating this out there, backing the bus over Brian Harpole if they have to, just to see what she has. Set a trap. See if she'll fall in it. Do we know if the Dairy Queen photo time is accurate? We don't. I've mentioned that many times. There's a movie banner behind TR. The movie was advertised. Yeah, we've covered that as well. That movie photo, I think, for Dairy Queen's rotation was still supposed to be up, but we don't know the time. There's no timestamp. There's no date. Dear Heavenly Father, I pray the full armor of God protects all the truth tellers and ask those who have info in the case to repent and come clean. We all need to repent and ask for forgiveness. Christ is King. Many of them are starting to. We're starting to hear from people that I never thought we would hear from. And when the time is right or when they're ready to come forward, maybe they'll talk publicly. Name redacted in SB screenshot. Maybe someone else entirely who has a team of 11 Maroon boys. Maybe. We must all repudiate and stop anti-Candacism. Christ is King indeed. I, for one, do not like anti-Candites. We just left the courtyard where they got Charlie. We counted 33 planters on top of the crime scene. No joke. 33 hours to find him, 33 minutes on campus, 33 planters over the death scene. I rest my case. Didn't Rob McCoy said he went for a walk with Charlie after he put the kids to bed? That was Frank Turek. What grade would you give the defense team so far? I don't know that I have enough evidence to grade people. I wish I could. Reading today. What do you say? Who do you say that I am? Catholic here. Christ is King indeed. Let's keep going, Max. That was the reading. That was the gospel reading today. Matthew 16. I think that's right. I love your content in this high IQ community. Christ is King indeed. I love your comment, and I agree with you on the high IQ community. Taint the jury pool. Like you're not doing that. A bunch of knuckle draggers and bored wine moms enjoying this trash. You know, okay. If this is tainting the jury pool, then they're tainting the jury pool. So, you know, I'm not hosting an event in Utah with media present. I'm just doing a podcast. And true crime podcasts have been a part of American culture now for years, decades. Not podcasts. True crime coverage have been for decades. And true crime podcasts for well over 10 years have been a hallmark of American culture, American civil discourse. So I don't think that's necessarily outrageous to suggest that people getting to, I think it is outrageous to suggest people getting together, evaluating the evidence of a crime and somehow tainting the jury pool. But if it is, what are Beavis and Butthead doing every day? What's Smoke Boy doing? What are all these influencers doing? They're saying the evidence is overwhelming. The evidence is overwhelming. Put him to death. Put him to death. And what are they doing? That going to the scene of the crime to have a media event in Utah County, knowing every Utah County media outlet will be there and we'll do a story on it. Not the same, friend. Not the same. Trying again. Life is Driving 21-minute mark where you were showing Nate Walker walking the other day, guy in far background. If you look behind Red Shirt's phone, I believe you. I'm not going to pull it back up because it said 22 minutes earlier. But Baron breakfast is for breakfast or dinner is the best. I agree. It's a treat. I just don't understand why Christ is King indeed. And speaking of Ozempic, looks like Blakey's taking the jab. Couldn't handle your digs about his shape. He's either taking that or AZT. I'm not sure which. He looks terrible. Rapid, number one fan from Rapid City, South Dakota. Ma'am, that's not true because Blake Neff is from there, I think. Maybe that's not the city he's from. He's from South Dakota somewhere. Oh, I think the doctor was from Rapid City. Lee DuPont Trotter. But I'll allow it. Mabi, do you think us Coloradans should be worried about Victor Marks? Yes, he's a psychopath. Like, that's not a medical diagnosis. It's just an opinion. I figured we'd just go blue as per usual, but after what they did to Massey, I'm starting to worry. Yeah, you should worry. He's a psychopath. EK mentions Senator Farnsworth's bill on EMTs and suggesting the need for a catastrophic event like 9/11 to open our eyes. Have you seen or heard it? Yes, I have. With the principal and humble host both absent, not all week. You guys keep saying all next week. One day, Thursday. The Thursday show I normally do, I will not do. And then Sunday. But that's next week. That's 2 weeks. We need Ian on Friday night. Well, I'm all in favor of that. Who's going to ask him? Well, I'll watch if you guys get him on. Love you, my B. Your chat has awful people today. Bots? Yeah, probably. They're bored. Candace is out of town. They're just deploying into our chat what they normally do to hers. Hi, my B. Calling absolute. Oh, and mods, if you see it, block those people because they may be trying to TOS bomb the channel or cause some sort of problem. Calling absolute number one fan from Trenton, New Jersey. Just here trying to change the world. Love you, Daisy and family. Christ is King indeed. Now, don't ban people just because they disagree. I don't mind disagreement. I don't even mind people that call us ugly names. But keep it clean. Keep it clean. You can call me an ugly name. Just be clean about it. You know, call me a zippy doo-doo head or something. I just thought of that. I've never called anyone a zippy doo-doo head, nor have I been called one. Hey, B, any thoughts on Andrew Hayden in San Diego? None. I've never heard of him. Whenever you say I've been there, I have a chuckle. I'm reminded of the I've Been Everywhere Man AU song. Do you think you could do a version with all the places you've been in the U.S.? No, you'll never catch me singing a song. Regarding pharma topic, I worked as a volunteer for 7 years with CASA, CPS had my girl on 27 different psychotropics, not including dose changes or hospital push beds. Too many stories I can share, sadly. Gulp. Edge. Yes, I too contemplated they would try to script him as an awful man who mistreated EK and staff and deserved it. Hearing the other juror confirms my concerns. I won't believe anything negative. Yeah, I'm confident this is the next phase. It sounds like they're deploying the ships to destroy Charlie's legacy and make him out to be a liar. I truly think they hated that man. This is an opinion. It's allegedly and all that. I believe they hated the man. I believe they despised Charlie Kirk. I genuinely do. I genuinely do. Because of the way they've treated his legacy. My goodness. Gary, you're still a big dummy. Well, that's Ivan's opinion. It's Ivan's opinion. I don't think big is the word I'd use with Gary. New talking point to belittle those who question is that we are all wine moms on SSRIs. I'm a mom. I don't drink or take psychotropic drugs. So, well, especially they've come to the one show that preaches sobriety and like congratulates people, and we're all working together. And then they're calling people wine moms. I think you've come to the right place. EK mentions Senator Farnsworth's bill on EMTs and suggested a catastrophic event necessary to open people's eyes. Have you seen too much? Yeah, I have. I've seen that. 3-year-old Grand is over and started crying. Asked her why, and she said that boy keeps saying Charlie's name. Same name as her BFF from dance and not mine. Can you please say hi to Isla? Thanks. Isla. Isla. Isla likes to dance. Isla. Isn't in France. I can't do that on the fly. But the drone guy explains why there's a big plane, where there was a plane that stopped by the campus at low altitude, went off to Montana, came back, Big Bang, low altitude, then back to El Paso. He provides a possible explanation. That's correct. There are others. That drone, that plane is very, very impressive, very powerful. And deploying drones is only one of the things that plane is capable of doing. And I don't know if on that day it was outfitted with the little drone deployment bay or how it works. Or do they drop it out of the bottom? I don't know. But again, just because something's possible doesn't mean we start stating it as fact. SPLC targeted Charlie September 9, day before he died. SPLC ADL call conservatives extremists, but ignore Antifa. Even after SPLC lawyer riot arrest, he called them the left. Last text, tell your Antifa friends hi, he sent. Oh, he didn't send it. Someone else sent it. EK turned off his internet and likely phone access. That's not entirely accurate. She turned off the Wi-Fi. He still very much had his phone. Murph with a vest, straight through, no partitioning. No, I'll let him partition. He smokes. We're going to let him partition. I don't know that he could do a 15-minute mile. I mean, that's like brisk walking pace. I'm not sure he could mosey a mile at 20 minutes a mile. So I'm going to let him partition. You can't partition the run, though. The run has to be a mile straight, and you got to start with it before you can do any partitioning. Mile straight at the end. $1,000, 90 minutes. Go, smoke boy. But I got to be there. I got to be there to see it. Can't send me a video. You guys make stuff up. I appoint my wife to be my successor. Yeah, okay, yeah. There were 2 tents in the courtyard at UVU. One for Charlie and one to Charlie's left. What was in the other tent? Material. Passing out stuff. Mr. B, enjoy your time off and stay safe. My son leaves mechanics training program tomorrow. Pray for this mama's heart. Christ is king indeed. It's a tough time. Going through that empty nest thing, maybe, or maybe you got other kids at home, but I get it. It's hard watching them go. It's hard. I talked to my boy the other day, texted him a few times. He's kind of an independent guy, though. I think if I don't initiate it, it could get quiet. He's going to hear from me. 75% chance, 75 to 85% chance of a show Wednesday. Sounds overwhelming. Not to me. But I do believe that's accurate. Legally, could one get in trouble for wearing a maroon decoy shirt, a black curly hat, gray Converse with white laces to the 1-year UVU TPUSA event? I don't believe you'll get in. If you're going to wear a decoy shirt, you probably ought to wear something over it. And then, like, wear a white shirt over it and then switch. And then have your white shirt under once you get in. I have a feeling they'll be turning people away at the doors. But here's the thing. It's a public campus. There's something called viewpoint discrimination that public campuses can't engage in. As long as you're not being disruptive, you should be able to wear any kind of message on any kind of shirt as long as it's not vulgar or something or violate some sort of rule. That'd be interesting to see how they handle that. Are they engaging in viewpoint discrimination if they kick you out? Was that open UVU up to a lawsuit? I think it would. I think a lot of lawyers would take that case. But yeah, if you're going to wear an outfit like that, I would cover it up. I don't know. Merch is that positive evidence. Tilly with a pick of Tilly, like Daisy's pick. Your king. Thank you. I'll consider it. Emphasize daily. Candace was on his mind, on CK's mind, the last day he was alive via text. I want to invite Candace back. Correct. You are correct. Increase. Dying to know what you thought about the Matan interview with Julian. LOL. I felt sorry for Julian. Love you all. Christ is king indeed. I actually talked to Julian about that interview when I was there because he had just done it a day or two before. And he released them out of order. He released mine. It ran for a week or two, and then he released the Matan interview. It was so wild. The interview itself was so wild, and hearing him tell the story from his point of view was even wilder. Even wilder. That guy's a piece of work. Between the latest artifact drops, Smoke Boy and the debate debriefs, let's not forget about Harpole, etc. There are not enough onus on the failures of his security team. Negligence at best. Well, that's your opinion. And you're entitled to your opinion. We can't state it as fact because he likes to sue people who say it as fact. But I'll also add a fact. He was hired to keep Charlie alive, and Charlie died. But that's just a fact. You know, I'm not suggesting it's your fault, Mr. Harpo. But yeah, you know, it's an interesting opinion. RBP, cunning, baffling, powerful. Cunning. Shawnee. Wow, Shawnee. Thank you. Message was sent by the same guy with no vest, no bulletproof glass, no wanding for weapons, stacked up on platform with his lapel mic clipped on backwards, where no one has secured any roof he can see, and everyone's saying, I don't like this. Yeah, well, when you put it that way, Shawnee, it's pretty unavoidable. I might clip that. That's a really nice summary of who sent that text message, the alleged text message. Thank you for that. Very kind of you. Lindsay was RX'd Seroquel 10 or 15 years ago. Soon after it released, I was RX'd it too. 1 month in, I attempted to delete myself. OD on my refill. 2 days on life support. A friend also 1 month on it, attempt and was on life support. I think the drug played a part. Well, you have firsthand experience. I'm terribly sorry you went through that. I'm telling you, man, these things make me weird. I'm very nervous about those types of drugs. Please pray for my church. Our pastor passed 3 months ago, and we're transitioning into a new leadership team. Christ is king indeed. I will indeed pray for your church. It's got to be tough. Got to be tough indeed. As a screenwriter, I struggle with the authorship of the texts in Lance Twiggs. Doesn't seem to be the true author's voice. Beat pattern, but rather someone else trying to act like the author, and those patterns are revealing. I'll allow that. I think the texts are weird. Brought out the idea of radiation with hubby, who's an RD chemist, started as an X-ray tech. He said it would be easy to use radiation as a trigger. Radiation on CK, sensor and mic. After it reaches a set level of exposure, sets off. Well, that's scary. That's scary indeed. My granddaughter legit has requested that her humble host attends her 5th birthday party. This is your chance to visit beautiful Bean Station, Tennessee. Well, it sounds lovely this time of year. Where's Bean Station, Tennessee? I got to look it up before I say no. That's barely in Tennessee. That's like in another country. Man, you guys are way up there. I will not be making it. I do apologize. Tell her I'm sorry. I'm sure it's beautiful. For those wondering, Bean Station is just outside of Tate Springs and Wyatt Village, if that gives you an idea. Appears to be some kind of body of water there. Cherokee Reservoir. Panther Creek State Park. All right. I'm not going to be able to make it. I have to decline. I apologize. I'm busy that day. Got very busy plans. Thank you, though. Thank you. Why was FT signing a hat right before the Big Bang? Does he get asked to sign hats often? I saw a video on X by Charlie's Angel or something. Have I seen that video? I'm sure I have. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a fan. Maybe CK was starting to doubt security team. Hence the reminder text. Thanks, B. Maybe. You're not what? I hope it's not like I'm not breathing, because now we're in, like, that would be terrible because you didn't get it out, so we don't know to send help. Someone check on T-Box 380. Someone go by his house, knock on the doors, look through the windows. Don't be creepy about it, but give him a gander. That's that word again. We don't use it enough. Gander. I'm going to start using it more. Y'all are entering gander territory. You don't even know it. You have no idea how much gandering's on the way. Morning from sunny Melbourne, Australia. My absolute favorite podcaster. Any chance of another member's asking me anything that isn't in the middle of the night down under? Love the show and you, my B. Love, thanks, Coleman's. So what you're asking for is a member show that starts like 7 o'clock so that it's morning there? Probably not, if I'm being honest. I mean, those member shows are essentially a night off where I get to see my family. So if I do 4 regular shows at night where I'm taken away from them, I like to see them those other 3 nights. I can't not have any, I can't lose another night. I like my family. They're good people. I don't know. Let me think about it. Tink, tink, tink. Let me think. Shawnee, dropping membos. Speaking of the member shows. And for those that aren't members and those that just got those members, the AMA, the Ask Me Anything, Thursday was Thursday was a huge hit. We will do it again. We will definitely do it again. That was a lot of fun. I got asked so many questions I would have never thought about answering. I would love to see even more. Those were great. Great questions. Went for 3.5 hours just answering questions. Love the merch, just not the insane shipping to Oz. Well, we're not in Oz. You got to take a plane over there. I can't help that. Love you, Baron, from Tomball, Texas. Go Max and Christ is King indeed. And we don't set the shipping rates. That's set by the shipping companies like UPS, FedEx, and all that. That's not us. Have you talked to CO about Tatum? Not worry about his proximity to her because he might turn out to be a Judas. I hate how dishonest he is at her expense. I'm not going to share private conversations. Not you pulling a Gary and Andrew and taking a picture of the picture to show. Yeah. But other than that, I got to move the camera. And if I move the camera, it'll reveal a little too much about my home office that I don't know that I want you to see all this over here. But the second thing is, then I have to get the camera put back right. And to get it put in that exact spot takes too much time. Too much time. I hate when that camera moves, I get sick because it takes forever to get dialed back in. Regarding clock tower comment, Salem founder was ousted from chair position on 8/19/25 for Waterstone's Von Gretchen. Von Gretchen, that's an interesting name. Who had likely to approve the FARA. CK knew Waterstone was taking over and their beliefs. Okay, I believe you. What's the plan if they convict TR? I worry about this and all the hard work that has been put into uncovering the truth could come to an end. Well, if it's overwhelming evidence, if they truly do have overwhelming evidence, then why would we continue talking about it? I mean, the case is over at that point. If they convict him on garbage nonsense, I mean, the goal is to figure out who killed Charlie Kirk, how, and why. Like the Brian Kohberger case, a lot of people look at that and say, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't seem right. And then they took a plea where there's no evidence discussed. Everybody just sort of papered over it. And now people are opening it back up a little bit and going, no. And so they're starting to review the case again. I think it depends on how it ends. Any woman who's postmenopausal can tell you what having hormones going crazy does to the mind. Oh, don't tell that to Matt Walsh. He doesn't believe in it. He thinks it's like the fairy tale, the tooth fairy. Sorry if there's young people watching. That tooth fairy is very real, guys. I apologize. I should use a better example. He-Man. I meant He-Man, guys. I accidentally said tooth fairy. I apologize. He thinks it's like He-Man, just a character. It's not real. It's fictitious. TYs who are transitioning have crazy hormones. What's a TY? Tyler's? Correlation to crazy behavior. I do not believe it was TR on the roof. Christ is king indeed. I can't follow all that, but I agree with that last part. I've asked a few times, any thoughts on doing an Oak Island member show? I'd love to hear what Daisy can uncover. We've talked about it, and I don't know, honestly. Was there correlation between 11 and 12 phones, 11 and 12 security? Maybe. I can't answer. I'm not in the national security establishment. Smoke Boy Murph, 1 mile walk for smokes, 100 drags his reps, 200 foot shake, 1 mile walk to the bank, withdraw $300,000. Oh my gosh, that's great. The Smoke Boy Murph. That's amazing. You got it out of order though. He's got to walk for smokes after he withdraws the 300 in order to keep the order of the workout. So you got to withdraw the 300 and then walk around with it. That's your weighted vest right there. 300 cold hard cash. That's the weighted vest. Please go back and find the 2 super chats I sent before show started. JSM question for sure. I've warned you guys about sending super chats before show started. Sometimes they get cut off before I'm able to start going through them. So if you have a super chat that has to be read on air, I will see it after the show when I go pull them up and I'll look at it. But if you want a super chat absolutely read on air, you must wait until closer to showtime or after the show has started. And even then it says time allows, but like tonight I've got time. I'm going to finish. But yeah, if you send one too early, sometimes the YouTube drops them from where I can access them on my show. But Baron, thanks for all you do. I know that everything you work on must take a lot of your time, so a special thank you to your family. My favorite show so far was the Owens versus Smoke Boy show. I've never laughed as much as when you said he was looking for the eject button. Well, he was. You could see him. He was looking left. He was looking right. He was shaking the foot, working up the energy to hit the button. You know, it's like a turbocharger. You got to build up the exhaust before it kicks in. But he never found it. Christ is King indeed. 10 years sober, opioids, and celebrating 23 years with the Hubs today. Christ is King indeed. That's amazing, cheeky mama. You know how many people aren't able to kick that habit? They just don't have it in them. But you did. You should be proud of yourself. Congratulations. Baron, please review the MSPM7 issued by DJT on September 25, 2025. Okay, I'll do it. Why is CKL? It'd have been better if you'd have told me what you thought it was about. Like, what point were you wanting me to see in there? Why is CK's cell phone in airplane mode? Because he's dead. He doesn't need to use it. Timestamps on text are all over. No, I don't think they are. Which text are we talking about? I don't think they are. I forgot to include my message, but whoever said you laugh like Popeye is full of bull butter. Thank you. It's bull butter. I don't laugh like Popeye. He yucked. He went, yuck, 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 yuck. Your laugh is great and infectious. Glad you're feeling better. God bless. Thank you. I appreciate that. Is there any lawsuit about how Kirk's emergency services were absent and even refused? Who is in charge of the investigation, and is it over? The Utah County Sheriff's Office and the Utah County Attorney's Office is in charge of the investigation, and it's very much not over. They just had a preliminary hearing. Did we ever find out why the English guy was in the FBI? He wasn't. He was in the State Bureau of Investigation, the SBI, Sierra, Bravo, India. I don't know about the first one. A lawsuit from whom? From Erica about emergency service? Who would have standing to file that lawsuit? The insurance company, maybe, and Erica, the only two people I can think of. Maybe his kids. CK interview with Mike Lee a week before he died. Everyone involved wanted him and his fans to believe Antifa was on the rampage. With this interview in mind and the hammer message about Antifa, I think the Telegram message is not typed by CK. I'll put you down in that category. My B, I fell asleep. LOL, stupid hospital. I got my sleep schedule all messed up. Please shout out Mrs. Jackson for being so awesome. Sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Oh, sorry. For being so awesome and gracious, being the go-between for me to give y'all update on me. I'm okay, B. Good. I'm glad. I was touch and go there for a moment, it sounded like. I'm glad you're still with us. Now back to PT. You built a great community, and I'm happy to say I'm part of it. Such encouragement, greetings, and celebration from all. Well, we're trying our best here. That's not me. That's you guys. I didn't build anything. You guys built a great community. Hey, B. I was down near you today. My father-in-law owns the 2 big plantation houses in the heart of Spring Hill. Are you talking about Spring Hill with 2 words or 1? Because I've never been to Spring Hill with 1 word. My question is, why hasn't TR parents put the rumors to bed and stopped the potential tampering of jury? I can't answer that. I can't answer that. And I don't know what they would say or to whom they would say it or anything like that. So I can't I know which houses you're talking about though. Very familiar. 2 of 2 in the Mike Lee interviews. CK criticizes UT courts as left leaning. Okay. Noted. What is exculpatory versus not at preliminary? Would defense only present very narrow evidence at preliminary? Genuinely confused. This is a good chance to answer this question because I hear so many people getting this wrong, including some lawyers, I think, that are getting it wrong. And again, I'm very generous and people are free to come to their own conclusions. And I'm sure there's people who disagree with my take on this, but I think I'm right. So the standard in Utah is if you meet the burden, it's a very minimal burden, but if you meet the burden of having given the judge some sort of credible evidence, some sort of reasonable evidence, if the prosecution meets that burden, so they have text messages that Lance Twiggs says were sent to him by Tyler Robinson. And they have pictures of those. And Lance Twiggs authenticates them and says, yes, those are the text messages as I received them. They're not changed. They're accurate. I believe they came from Tyler Robinson. They came from his phone number or his iMessage account somehow. And those text messages say that he is sitting outside of some trees waiting on a cop to leave. That's just what they say. The judge has to believe that. The judge has to interpret that evidence in that way. If the defense indicates, well, here are 2 eyewitnesses that put him 4 hours away at that time, the judge says, thank you, I will not consider it. So why would they do that? Why would they bring that up? They wouldn't. Because if they have that evidence, if they believe Tyler Robinson was there, say they have the credit card receipt, they have the statement, they have the bank statement, they have the 2 eyewitnesses, they're all going to put on a great show at the trial. Why would you introduce it at the preliminary hearing? The judge is not allowed to consider it. He already has evidence that contradicts it, and he is not permitted to weigh evidence. I went through that law. I went through the law. I put the law up on the screen, the controlling case in Utah on that very issue. And the judge is not permitted to weigh competing evidence. If the prosecution has met their burden on any topic, if the prosecution presents evidence, and that's it. That's all the judge is allowed to consider. That's why. That's why the defense would only present narrow evidence at a preliminary. Because they have evidence that says he's on the roof. What? They have a police officer who says, I looked at the camera footage. I think that's him. So if the defense introduces evidence that he's on the other side of town, the judge is not allowed to look at it. He's not allowed to look at it. He's not allowed to weigh it and say, well, I think this is more compelling. I'm going to believe he wasn't there. I'm going to dismiss the case. That would get overturned by the Utah Supreme Court. They would put it right back in his courtroom and they would chastise him and he would look stupid in front of all of his colleagues for not following the law. And so I totally reject this idea that if they had exculpatory evidence, they absolutely would have presented it at the preliminary. That's not Utah law. That's not Utah law. Utah law says that the medical examiner's report said a .30 caliber round caused his death. And if you have evidence that is in front of the judge and says a .30 caliber round caused his death, you can't bring in anything else. You can't bring in a microphone. You can't bring in electrocution. You can't bring in EMP. You can't bring in any of these other things. If you do, the judge is going to say, what are you doing? I already have evidence. And if you say, well, let me put my evidence on, he said, you can put it on, but I'm not going to look at it. And as soon as the guy walks off the stage, he's going to say, well, going to trial. Prosecution met their very light burden, very low burden. So I reject this idea that the defense could have done anything on these points. The Utah law will not allow it. Love you, B, excuse me. Son lived at home through school and after grad worked 2 jobs. Told me when he had $2,000 in savings, he was moving out. And a month later, out of clear blue, he did. It will get easier. Yeah, but I now have 2 kids out of the house. If I'd only had 2 kids, I'd be an empty nester. You guys would get a lot more me. I'm kidding. You get plenty. I can only talk for so many hours a week. The old voice would give out if I didn't take a break every few days. I didn't think about that. If I only had 2 kids, I'd be an empty nester. 46 years old. What would I do with myself? Wander? I'd be milling around. A lot of milling around, looking around. Cover up your decoy shirt with your second favorite shirt from Candace. They'll never suspect a thing. Baron is keen. Christ is king, indeed. Yeah, I'm not sure that would work for the objective. I think that would get you double kicked out. Moon Goddess is back. You let your favoritism slip, B, when you read Miss Jackson's Super Chat Friday. I knew I was one of your faves. Can't deny it anymore, B. Thank you. And come for love and prayers. Love y'all. Wow, I love you too, Moon Goddess. Love you too. I don't play favorites. I don't play favorites. Daisy, are you interested in researching Oak Island and putting a show together? Well, the producer position for this program is not open. It's not open. It's quite filled by your humble host. To my D, Daisy. Forgot to thank Daisy. We love you. Oh, she just got that. So what is exculpatory at prelim? Is anything exculpatory like being at the doctor at 12:23? I don't even think that would be exculpatory. Now, the judge might say, what the hell's going on here at that point? I mean, that might be so undeniable that the judge would be like, what the hell are you doing, prosecution? But I think he's bound by law to send it to trial. I don't know. He's not allowed to weigh the evidence. If they meet their burden, he must interpret the evidence. He must draw all inferences in favor of the prosecution. Now, I think the judge might reprimand the prosecution verbally and say, you need to get your act together quickly, because this is not going to go well for you if you keep going forward in this capacity. But the law is the law. So figure out what you want to do. If you want me to send this to trial, I'm going to make your life hell. But I will have to send it to trial. But Bubba Baron, Smoke Boy, said he would show the text during the debate, and then he changed his mind when Candace reminded him. Those texts don't line up. They're different colors, spacing wrong, etc. I am free to let you guys pick apart the veracity of the text, and if you convince me, I'll buy it. They may have released the text messages before Candace got it in the Harpole lawsuit. I don't know. I mean, if anything, it makes discovery more likely, not less likely. But now you can go to the judge and say, hey, they're sitting on evidence. I think, I don't know. I mean, if you could go to the judge and show that you're pretty confident they have that evidence, I don't know how a judge would tell you can't get to it. I think he would grant that. But I don't know. Guys, this has been fun. Just a general reminder, Thursday out, Friday out, Saturday out, Sunday out. If I could sneak in a members Q&A in that 4 days, maybe I will. I don't know that I'll be able to, but maybe. But short of that, I'll be back Monday. And but I will be here tomorrow. I'll be here Tuesday, and there's a 75 to 85% chance I'll be here Wednesday. Whether you find that overwhelming, I mean, if you ask Smoke Boy, that means I'm here. But I leave open the outside possibility that Wednesday could get squirrely. May have to do an early show Tuesday. I've got something going on Tuesday night, so it may be a nooner for you on the West Coast. But we'll see how that works out. Guys, in the meantime, don't forget. Don't ever forget. Jesus loves you. Genuinely. Deeply. More than you even can comprehend. One day we'll figure it out. One day we'll know. One day you'll figure it out and you go, wow, I had no idea. But until then, just intellectually know it. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, all that other stuff, notifications, join the program if you want to watch some of the members' content. It's a lot of fun. Merch, realbaronpodcast.com, emails, realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. Hope you guys have a wonderful night, and I will see you mañana. That's for those of you. I saw somebody in the chat say they didn't like mouth noises. And I don't think I make them. I think I'm pretty disciplined on the mic, but apparently I made them noise. So you guys have a wonderful night. We'll see you soon.